fully backed and collateralized by a complex system that few humans in the world understand. And an entire building full of developers on multiple floors. And like, there's no one person on Earth, or at least we doubt that there are many people on Earth that understand all of the complexities of this insane DeFi smart contract. And that's, and that's even with people who are here for the tech.
Indeed. Not even geniuses like Richard Hart likely understand every aspect of it.
Well, not that he couldn't, but that it's probably not at the top of his list of things to do. And, like when you fork something in crypto and when you have something called DeFi and true crypto, it's not one person's responsibility in order to test everything, in order to explain everything, understand everything. It's like, it's like if you blamed a doctor for like, a new illness that had never been seen before in the history of the world. That would seem ludicrous, but like for some reason there are people, like blaming the founder of Pulse Chain for, things that they didn't understand.
Indeed, yeah, and since Pulse Chain was a full system state copy of Ethereum, like thousands of protocols and tokens were forked, or tens of thousands of tokens, of course, and there's no reasonable way that people could understand if any of them would be working, or if all of them would be working, or that one man like Richard Hart could absolutely have them all memorized. It's a big list.
And in fact, we often say it's a miracle that anything in crypto works.
Some days.
Have you guys heard that before?
Of course.
I have.
Yeah.
Many times.
But I think it's understandable with the solvency of PDAI, whatever that was before, kind of failing. And I think a lot of people are feeling like the number one narrative on Pulse Chain is dead. A lot of people lost money. And
why is that a number one narrative in Pulse Chain? Let me push back on that.
Well, I think somebody measured it. This is, a month or two ago, I heard this statistic that there were more active wallets or fresh wallets. I don't know if it was Moralis or Dex Screener or Dex Tools, or there's somewhere where you can like, and I had meant to learn like how to see that, but yeah. So I think even Ivan on his stream today said that there were something like 45,000 seems
the
active PDAI wallets.
But at the end of the day, right, to get there or play the PDAI game or whatever, first you got to get Pulse. You got to be on Pulse Chain. Some of those people probably already had a bunch of copies, right? So they came to utilize those before they start thinking about potentially buying more. But I agree that he's definitely have brought a lot of people in. But
so I
just pushed back.
It was a major narrative. Yeah, thanks for pushing back.
I'll give that. But
we appreciate that. that the point of this show is to challenge each other and to understand things better. But where I was going with that is that like I do genuinely care about the other people who are in crypto who like believe strongly in anything crypto. And so I do recognize, that people are struggling out there, especially with holders of core coins who have discovered that maybe $27 million to $30 million has been extracted out of the Pulse Chain ecosystem through what appears to be an arbitrage or a inflation bug, or there's different ways to describe it, but something that people didn't understand about the PDAI, system, the MakerDAO system. And so at the same time, I'm very proud of the community for like sticking together. And like, for me, I unblocked a bunch of people and have been extremely active in Twitter spaces, trying to understand how people can, you know, how our community can survive this and continue to thrive as the number 5 chain in the world, the you know, the preeminent fork of Ethereum ever. And so I think that that the people, some of the other people who were hosting Twitter Spaces have an attitude of kind of bullying and trolling, and like I've found it easier to get along with them because I realize that everybody who's here spending all their time all day to try to get answers and to try to help Pulse Chain succeed, like that's a common core of like what's bringing us together, and to try to get answers about PDAI. But I also recognize that, like, you know, that people are still sometimes being mean to each other, and in a decentralized community, what can you really do but try to get along? So
it has definitely brought some people together, like possible unlikely allies, which I think has been kind of interesting. It's kind of like if aliens attacked the Earth, like we wouldn't be fighting with China anymore. You know, we should be like, okay, let's get these aliens. Everybody team up.
I think it's good that we're talking about it, and then it's good that we address it here. So, because there's a couple important points. Obviously, we want to talk about other things, but since you brought PDAI thing first, so we can just go ahead and address it. Because Maddie, what's important is that we got to go back to the core, or you know, what our community is about and what we believe in and what we actually in crypto. And I don't know if you guys went over. I mean, we just started, but I don't know if you guys went over the Richard Hart Twitter rant. That's what people call it. But I think it wasn't even a rant. It was exactly what he said. Like, you guys are acting like dum-dums. Let me educate you again. We used to have those all the time. Actually, he kind of missed those. It's just, but this he felt compelled to just go because he got so out of whack that he was like, all right, cool, time to bring you back to school. So it's not so much a rant. It's more about explaining to people the difference between, hey, let's speculate. That's what Pulse Chain is for. That's what literally crypto is also designed for. It's not a crime. It's no big deal. Everybody can like speculate on things. I was the first one to even say, again, going all the way back, the discussion how fast Abdul got on the show, where it's like, we don't hate nobody here. Come here, try your best shot, be cool, just don't be rude. And most importantly, don't be saying things that we didn't say. Or don't be like, that was my beef with the PDAI thing, and then, you know, the B-Roots of the world at the time and all this sort of stuff. Like, oh, Cream is lying. Oh, Cream is buying secretly. PDAI. Oh, this, all that. Twitching my whole scenario against me. I was like, no, if I'm going to buy something, I'm going to tell you I'm going to buy something. That's really where the issue was. And I think Richard felt compelled to kind of say something because he just got tired of being used as a narrative play. It's like, it's all fun when it's like, hey, like Maddie perfectly said, adoption is coming in, 45K wallet, who cares? Boom. I even joke about it, like, man, I don't care. This thing go to $1, shit. Pulse Hex, everybody benefits, more liquidity because it's bonded, right? Which also means if we discover there is a potential bug, which again, a lot of people brought evidence to show that, literally screenshot what the guy was doing, screenshot on the blockchain. I think Alex from Hedron did a great breakdown a couple hours ago, Maddie. I don't know if you saw that tweet. I mean, to break that down. Well, it's like, yo, we're not making this up. We're not fighting. We have no reason to fight. We got no horse in this game. I mean, I can only speak for me, but because I never bought the PDAI thing. So, but it's cool to those who did. And that's why, to summarize TLDR, what that Twitter rant was like, yo, speculation is fun. Speculation is great. Try your best shot. Somebody brought a lot of value by bringing those people in, and, you know, sometimes funny narratives and also, but it's all fun and cool. But now it's getting to a point where it's like you're making shit up, and that's not okay, because we're not known to be the chain or the people or the community that make shit up. Because Maddie, if we do that, then how are we gonna sit here and be like, oh, we're better than these people and that people and the scammers and the whatever? If we start acting or doing what they're doing, and that's where we have to pump the brake. And I think that's what Richard had to come, be like, yo, no, the guy is extracting money, is leaving liquidity from the chain. And again, people love bonding liquidity, but you gotta understand it works both ways. Things that has nothing to do with you comes in, bond it, push it up. But bad things that has nothing to do with you, potentially bad code, because when you fork things over, right, all the broken code and admin keys and whatever, when they come over on Pulse Chain, they're also broken because it's the same things. So the brokenness get copied over too. And now if we're not careful, things gets drained, and that's not okay. So this is why I don't know. Also, shout out to Firewell, I think that's his name, the guy that did the Solidex thing. You know, he also had a great tweet where he said, "Yo, I think it was yesterday. Message."
Slow down. We gotta cover Alex's tweet before we move on to a different one. So Alex put out a couple tweets here, and he's a developer on Pulse Chain who launched a popular product called Hedron that tried to vampire attack Hex. But Alex is generally considered to be a good actor in the space and is so technically minded that he is a real asset during a time like this. So he wrote 2 tweets today, just recently, and I don't know.
Down pretty well.
I don't know if like we need to like go through and read it out loud or whatever, but there's like talks about vaults and safe collateralization levels, PDI rewards getting minted because of auctions and liquidations. There's talk of
Maddie, I can summarize it for the people who are watching the show, which is good. And again, and I'm glad Maddie put it on the screen here. You know, he's also, I rarely say that, but he's also a great source of value. People who don't follow him, they should, because like me, to some degree, he doesn't tweet a lot, but when he tweets,
go ahead, Crispin.
Yeah. So where was he a month ago, 6 months ago? Where was
building?
He?
That's what he focused on. Honestly, and that's what I like about him. Because
listen, I'm just giving you some feedback. Sure.
What are you saying?
But I mean, today we have all this great information, right? I'm just taking the side of some other folks, right?
Please do.
Where were Richard and Alex while everybody was getting taken?
Living their lives.
Well, I can answer those. I can answer those, no problem. And that, by the way, that's a great question because it goes hand in hand with what we're about.
Well, I'm glad you can answer. Go ahead.
Yeah, perfect.
So I didn't have anything else to say.
And by the way, thank you for the question. I think that's a great question. And this is why I love our show. You know, it's once a week because then we can summarize all the drama out 7 days and bring it all in one.
So let me quickly just read here the thread that we opened, and then we can go into like, well, you know, where were our heroes. So the X post here describes a flaw in Pulse Chain's liquidation auctions where broken OSM Oracle prices allow users with existing vaults to self-liquidate, profit from PDI rewards, and manipulate auctions without competition. This exploit is tied to the collateralized debt position CDP system where only pre-existing vault holders can participate, as the debt ceiling prevents new CDPs from being created. The post highlights how this could drive PDI's value near zero unless an emergency shutdown mechanism, ESM, is triggered to halt the process.
Okay, now let me break down what Maddie just said in basic English because, you know, we can do the AI, but some of the terms are a little high. So basically, he was showing how basically the bad actor or anyone who has access can literally act bad. In other words, you can self-create the auction, right? Like the bad actor was doing. And then literally when you create the auction, your goal is you're incentivized to make the auction fail. Okay. So first of all, you create the auction, right? That's very important because that means when the auction fails, the thing comes back to you. So you create the auction. Number 2, you're the only one that can bet in the auction. That's another flaw because everybody knows an auction. Other people should be able to participate. So you create it. You're the only one that can participate. The numbers and the oracles are out of whack. That's the big thing. And again, it says Pulse Chain, but it's basically talking about PDI. He was just using the analogy in his tweet to say, you know, replace Ethereum for Pulse and understand what's happening. So it's almost like as a bad actor, I created an auction. I'm the only one participating in the auction. Nobody else can. The numbers are out of whack purposely. So when I make the auction fail on purpose, very important, create the liquidation because the numbers are out of whack with almost no money. I can trigger liquidation. And then it's profitable to do so because the liquidation gives me back the money. And because the pricing is out of whack, the value of the PDI that I receive is greater than me basically running the auction to make it fair. So I give you
Kareem, you just repeated everything that we just covered. Do you have something to add?
But I understood it better.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Because
Maddie, you understand. Some people don't understand fancy words. You gotta understand the audience. So that's what I'm just saying. It's more to break it down.
Well, this isn't for beginners, but I
Well, you never
respect
know who's on the chat. He took 30 seconds.
I
so it's-
respect trying to keep up with this, and that's one thing that you'll find is like the spread of like information after some of us have spent 100 hours in
yeah, you've been on too
learning
many
about this
spaces. I've seen you. You create all
in the
stuff,
past
you
2
create a
weeks.
coin. I get it.
In the past week.
Time to hear this.
So yeah, so that's excellent. Thank you, Kareem. And then Alex's other post here was helpful because it broke down like what he thinks the price should be, basically like based on the oracles being off of their
Yeah, go back up, Maddie, a little bit, please.
of their system.
Just a little. So again, for the viewer watching, roughly, why this post is important in this section here is that we all know, if you check the price right now, that a pulse chain is like 0.0028, almost 0.003. But the oracle, which is out of whack, thinks that it's 0.004. So in other words, it's almost like an arbitrage play, but you're triggering the liquidation to get paid in PDAI, which is value higher because of the one pulse valuation to PDAI, whatever the ratio trading is showing pulse at a higher value than what it is now. So I can create a vault with quote unquote real pulse at let's say 0.028. Then I'm triggering all this liquidation, get paid in PDAI, but then PDAI to pulse conversion is at 0.004. So I can literally just rinse and repeat the process. And this is where it gets crazy because I created a vault. Let's say I temporarily don't have enough money to create the liquidation. I can just let the auction expire and then hit redo and do it again. So in other words, I'm creating the thing, trying to liquidate to generate a profit. If I don't have enough money to create the liquidation, I can just wait, the thing ends, and I can just redo it. Because to some degree, if the price has to be high enough so that quote unquote nobody else can participate but you. So long story short, it's an arbitrage spread, and you can just keep rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat.
The problem is only one guy seems to be able to do it. So he's able to extract it. It doesn't create a natural arbitrage situation you'd have with normal stable
Yes,
coins.
very good point, Pastor Abdul.
It's like, and to my knowledge, that like it's mostly
only one guy
focused
can
on one wallet, but I think there could be others. But regardless, it's many devs have tried to replicate it and they can't, which means it's a vulnerability where some sort of expert or insider is exploiting it and he's able to drain it. And
it's not Richard.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely not Richard. Which brings me to the second part and the great question Crispy Man had, which is like, where were the people this, that, and the third? Well, first of all.
So Kareem, why don't we have you answer this and then we'll go around the room so that everybody can contribute and everybody can give their answer.
Okay. Now, to my knowledge, again, it's my quote unquote speculation, but it's backed by common sense, right? What has been transpired? First of all, Richard is busy, right? Fighting the SEC, fighting all the stuff like that. He's not here, nor should he, trying to police every single coin. People only care about this thing now because PDAI was popular. If it was a coin that nobody talked about, this wouldn't even be a subject of conversation.
Wow.
We would just talk about it in the show and say for 2 minutes, oh, another coin went to zero, or another coin had a vulnerability that would have been game over. But because it's PDAI, now all of a sudden people trying to play the victim card. No, I was, and many other people since the beginning, reminding people, hey, watch out. PDAI is not the other die. Again.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember you speaking out so much. I mean, we had a couple of shows.
I had the tweet.
But regardless, I'll give you a pass on that.
Totally. I can show you.
I don't think it's just because it's PDAI and it's a problem, dude. If it was just PDAI, then that's just one kind of a question.
No, my point is when
it was a speculation, but I mean, so we're really all going to sit here and think that Richard let the chain get vampired for $27 million and counting. We really believe that. Now I don't know what the hell's going on.
There's tens of thousands of coins.
But this really, and you can see it in the chat. People are saying this, and people may not come up and say it, but dude, credibility is at a low. Come on.
Of course, but hold on. Let's go back to the main point here. There's tens of thousands of coins of token on Pulse Chain. When people find a gem and they make so much money, they're the genius. But then when they get scammed, they want to say, "Oh, Richard should have saved me." No, that's not okay. It's DeFi. The guy's busy. He's not here to watch every single coin.
Yeah, sure. But don't come at everybody and be like, "Hey, dummies, you should have."
I'm not coming at nobody.
Not you personally.
Oh, okay.
I mean, first off, let me just say a few things. You can go on and talk. Right. First off,
Sure.
I know a lot of people obviously went way into this thing, right? And when talking about it, I've always talked about it as being a kind of lottery ticket because we really don't know. I don't know who the hell
Yeah,
these
well,
devs are. I don't know whether this thing works or doesn't work. All we had, we can go back and look at the tape and see this. All we had is the performance and what has happened to date,
yeah.
and then we have people on both sides of the trail. But both sides of the argument. Still, there's still hundreds, if not thousands, of people think it's going to $1.
Yeah,
Right.
and by the way,
So,
that's fine. That's
so,
totally fine for them. Let's address a few things, right?
It's
Number
not
one,
fine.
yeah, so I don't
It's a
know.
problem.
That could very well be a problem. But I mean, it's just crazy. This whole thing is just crazy, man.
exactly. I just want to
Because
set the context straight.
because
Okay,
all
first,
of these people who
mhm.
are coming out now celebrating, it appears to be
Who's
celebrating
celebrating?
their
Who is?
people in their voices
Who?
and
Say
how
the
they're
name.
coming
Who?
out.
I'm
Let him
tired of hearing the
finish.
people.
Let him finish,
Who?
Kareem.
Who's celebrating?
Well,
We all lost
if
money.
you've listened to some of these streams, there are some
I'm listening to some. Trust me.
very loud people that appear to be very happy that they were right, and I'm glad that they're right. I mean, that's okay too.
There's
And
some of the people that you're talking
I,
about are a rounding error. I've heard some of them on the stream. They're a
yes.
rounding error compared to the rest of the community. Most people who don't the community didn't care. Second of all, those people were also attacked before, called crazy, called stupid, this and
Yeah,
that. This is what you
the
get
whole-
when you attack
yeah, it's
people,
pretty. It gets
and
to be
then they
pretty
get back
degenerate.
to you. Then you can come back and say, "Oh, I was innocent." No, P-Dye people came out hard. And by the way, I got hit by that too, but you didn't hear me complain when people. I was just minding my own business, and people came at me hard saying, "Oh,
Yeah,
Frank's
I don't
behind
think.
this,
I thought
Frank's
you.
doing
I
this."
thought you actually. I thought you were fairly decent about the whole subject.
I
right?
was decent about the subject,
Yeah,
but again, I just want to keep the fairness and then the truth.
But
being
I was.
the
But I wasn't really
truth. Move the
talking about you.
goalposts and say, because again, my question was, and the reason I have a hard problem with this, like people are
But
coming at,
I really wasn't talking about you.
no, I know that, but I'm here defending Richard. I'm here defending people who are minding their own business. And then all of a sudden, when she goes south, they're being blamed for not. Oh, where were you? Why didn't you watch this or that? No, that's not their role. That's not
Well,
their job.
that's fair. That's fair in the case.
You know what I
of
mean?
Alex.
Like,
I don't
people
mean.
crazy.
I
They
don't
can't
mean to
have both
pick on.
ways.
I don't mean to pick on Alex, but what I'm going to say to you is one last thing about it, and then I'll let
Yeah.
you just keep talking. Maddie held up Alex, which I hold Alex in high esteem, but we haven't heard from him for months, right?
Mm.
And
The guy's busy working.
to hold up his comments and his tweet from today, which by the way gives no detail, it just lines out in detail in words. But it's we have developers that have been working on this for 3 to 4 days trying to replicate it. They can't replicate this, right? They can't replicate what's going on. There's more to the story than this. Is what I'm saying. And I'm not saying more of the story means Richard's behind it. That's not what I'm saying. I was very glad for him to finally come out and say something specific about this topic.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, guys, sorry, it's not. I'm not trying to be harsh doing the chart. Like, it's just like, listen, I've been watching this for too long, and the speculation and this and that. It's all fun when price goes the way people want. It's not fun when it goes the other way, and then people don't want to take responsibility. And I will never stand for that, because that to me is BS. So a couple of things, because I'm trying to make this short and sweet, right? Because people coming at Richard, or people are coming at other people who are like, "Oh, where are you?" This, that. No, those people have a life. Those people are building. I'm sure if Fast Abdul is out there building something that I think is useful, he's not going to go and watch Twitter every 5 minutes or listen to people who are like speculating, and then they got burned, and then all of a sudden they come back and they're like, "Oh, it's your fault. You should have read the code from me and tell me X, Y, and Z." No. Especially when some of us been warning about this for a while. In other words, we warn you, you don't listen, that's fine. Now go play speculation. When you get burnt, don't come back crying later saying X, Y, and Z. And the way Richard does it, which is smart, is he does not pick a side. We've seen this in the show many times for weeks. The point is like, hey, people are free to choose whatever, because we know DJs is going to come. The same way we got to pump that tire thing, because we know DJs are going to come. Let them do. Let's not pick a side. But then when something is potentially is going to affect the chain at a critical level, of course you got to get involved. Now all of a sudden, this little speculation while using my name, which sounds fun, brings liquidity to the chain, ha ha ha. But now all of a sudden it's hurting the chain. Now he got to set the record straight. So this is what I was getting at as far as why he let it go for the way he let it go, because he has no business trying to say something or pick a side, because the same people who are whining now would have been the same people that say, "Oh, Richard is flooding our coin. Da, da, da. Oh, we went down because Richard talked." No, that's what would have happened. I've seen that movie before. It's because now it's getting so bad. The guy's clearly scamming millions of dollars. Money's leaving the pool. people, bonding liquidity is getting affected. Now the homie got to say something. And now people are surprised. No, because now some people talk about lottery ticket. No, the way now, what's his name? The way somebody is shilling it right now, that doesn't sound like lottery ticket to me. That sounds like he put his whole bag into it. And then some of the people, yes, I did watch some of the streams, some of them create by Maddie, whatever, but like the level of delusional that I've heard sometime on the stream is crazy. It's literally dangerous. People say like, no, there's no bug.
I'm with you, Cream, but let's analyze it a little more detail so people can get caught up. So
yes,
your feelings are clear.
The detail is very simple. The details are very simple. And again, I only give Alex credit because at least he was trying to make it in digestible terms for normies to understand what the vulnerability is. Because one thing to say, hey, there's a vulnerability. There's another thing that somebody's taking the time to break the things down for you, showing you an analogy. I respect that. I don't care if the guy's been gone for 6 months. You should be grateful that he took the time to even write the goddamn tweet just to let you know what the hell's going on. Why is he being attacked? That's crazy to me. Same thing with Richard doing other things. And then, that thing probably came to his attention. Like, yo, you should watch this because this is getting out of hand. Blah, blah, blah. That's why he had to say something. He trying to hint it the nice way. Then people didn't listen. That's why he had to go on the multi-tweet stuff. So bottom line is now the thing hasn't been fixed. The last part that, what's his name? Alex said on his tweet that was really good. He said the way you can fix it, because again, he didn't go doom and gloom. He said there's two ways we can fix it for those who didn't read the rest of it. He said either you get the people who have the admin keys, right? The MakerDAO people, maybe somebody can contact them. Because again, I don't like seeing people lose money. I want to be very clear. I got no beef against the PDI people. I wanted them to go to dollar. I wanted them to make their money. We all benefit. But if we're going to be delusional, then I'm not with it. If we're going to be like, yo, let's find a solution. Let's try to fix the thing. Because we clearly have a good argument in terms of this could be a narrative. This is fun. Some people like it. People coming in. But let's make sure we're not being here shilling something, being stupid when somebody's dumping on our head. That is dumb. I would never, ever, you know what I mean? I'll be the first one to say, yo, if this PDI thing gets fixed, yo, shill it back up. Who cares? Let's go. But until it's fixed, it's literally disingenuous and dangerous to keep talking about it as if the problem is not fixed. So he said, either we get the MakerDAO people to get involved. They got the key. So like Maddie said, the ESM, the shutdown, somebody needs to be able to trigger that. So you either need the admin keys for that, or you need enough coins, so to speak, and PDI to overturn the guy. But good luck with that. So I think the best bet is somebody get in touch with the Maker people trying to see if they can get the admin key. I'm just being realistic, guys.
Well, Cream, how about we analyze some of those things as a group at a slower pace for the audience?
Say it again. Sorry.
Could we analyze some of those items at a slower pace for the audience? You're talking now a minute.
So now that everybody is very aware about the vulnerability, as we talked about at length.
Well, so hold on. I have so Fast Abdul has not been able to speak at length yet on this stream, and he has alpha that is not published on Twitter, and he's already reviewed lots of stuff. So let's try to include you, Fast, in all this, because you've been also, in addition to myself, one of like the most active people following this story.
Yeah, we've spent
for hours every day.
And I think most of the things you're going over, Kareem, are probably correct. The admin key issue, my research leads me to believe there are no admin keys on MakerDAO, including for the Oracle. There were admin keys originally, but then they renounced them, which happened before the fork. So that should remain true. But the MakerDAO tokens have taken over the role of what those admin keys had. So things like a shutdown option, which is one of the things people are talking about, or doing anything with the Oracle would require a certain amount of MakerDAO tokens. Now the problem for
the audience, how much would that be needed?
The shutdown, I believe, is supposed to be 150,000 MakerDAO tokens, which is a fairly unfeasible amount on the Pulse chain right now, because there's only about roughly 40,000 or less in all liquidity pools, and I'm including like weird, hard to find liquidity pools, unless somebody else saw a different number than that. Have you taken a look, Crispy, by chance?
I have not.
But yeah, I did a rough count and came up with max 40,000 is probably less. There's some big wallets, but most of those wallets haven't moved on Pulse Chain, and they're probably connected to the MakerDAO community in some way. the largest amounts of tokens, like the amounts that you would need to do something like this, are locked in what's called the MakerDAO Master Chief Contract, which is doubtless controlled by the MakerDAO team somehow or by that DAO ecosystem. So it's unlikely they'd be accessible to us without some assistance from MakerDAO. And I think we'd need those to get to the 150,000 point, or do like a big outreach to get people to come and sell their MakerDAO tokens on the chain. So we could get 150,000 in a liquidity pool that could be bought up. And that would enable the emergency shutdown option, which would basically turn PDAI back into a meme coin. So it wouldn't have any of the functions that we're talking about with the auctions and all that kind of stuff would all just go away. It would still be fungible, like you could still buy and sell it, I think, but it wouldn't have any connection to the vaults. There'd be no potential collateral, which isn't really a problem because it's not at the moment, because there's not enough collateral to do what people want it to do anyway. But it would likely stop the guy who's mass minting and dumping on the community. So it could be a better future for PDAI itself as a meme coin, than having somebody infinitely being able to mint and dump the token through various nefarious means.
No, it makes perfect sense. By the way, breaking news, because we got something in the chat now, but people were saying, and that's also, I can confirm that. That's what I heard on the chat, and then the Twitter space from the top dev that was on there. It's roughly about 46,000, roughly. But I think, like, based on the price of the maker, it's still like what, $200,000, something like that.
I just told Sami in the chat, I don't know if he saw it, that I sent him the link on Twitter to join this stream if he so chooses, and we're happy to see him stop by.
Good point. Yeah, because again, we don't hate nobody on this show, but we gotta help people like either see the light or protect themselves from doing something crazy. So, but yeah, I think 46,000 sounds like the number everybody's agreed on. That's the one that I heard also when I was from the devs that was on the Twitter space.
From which devs on which Twitter space?
The people that were trying to replicate, like you were saying, and they were literally discussing the ESM option. They said if we get about 46,000, then basically it's like they pull the fund and then they'll do the voting so that they can overrun. Because like you said, true, there's a way to change the ESM structure without admin key, but you have to make a proposal and have people vote. And you need roughly about 46,000. So either you get it.
That's a different problem than what I'm talking about. That wouldn't be for the emergency shutdown. That's probably something to do with the Oracle. And then that could be correct. I haven't looked as deeply on that. I don't see that as, from my understanding, I don't see that as something that would stop the guy who's exploiting it, though. I could be wrong about that because this.
Can you explain the difference from the audience, please? Because I don't know the difference between the ESM or the Oracle. Because I thought if we fix the Oracle, the thing fixes itself. Again, my limited understanding.
Fixing the Oracle is more of like a hope of like the PDAI community that like this could actually work in a more proper manner and have potentially be a stable coin in the future. But like it would still other things could pop up. But as far as like the exploiter still being able to exploit it, it would depend on other things about the assets that it was pointed at and things like that as well. I can't go further into it than that because I'm not going to say I understand it strongly enough to say exactly what that would do. But the emergency shutdown option is sort of like a more final solution, in my opinion, though it'd be more difficult to implement as far as the tokens. But that being said, like nobody's done these things yet. We don't even really know if they would work or not. So another solution is if people just stop buying it, then it mostly just stops being a problem. Because the liquidity is greatly reduced. Richard's dumped it and continued to dump it, or a wallet associated with the.
No, I mean you got.
I'd like to make a point on that. That I compare the PDAI mania and popularity on PulseChain to a mind virus. But I say that in a way that I don't mean to say that it's either positive or negative. But that it's something that has become an extremely deep belief for people. And I wish that everybody in the world had such a deep belief in crypto as the people who believe in PDAI. So part of what that means is that I've been better than most at predicting how this will play out over the past week, because I've recognized the fact that we're dealing with a religious cult level, a bag bias that we all have. We all have a bag bias. And then there's the objective narratives and technicalities. And then there's the changing worldview and everything, like, crypto and human psychology, that's a pretty complex intersection. And so, so when it comes to like what Fast Abdul and I think Kareem said about, well, people can just stop buying it, and then it won't be a problem where the exploiter is extracting money off the chain and like, decreasing the amount of stable coins that are backing all the Pulse chain coins and all of the, PulseX and Hex and everything else. So,
somebody say he's gonna come in. This is good, Maddie. I'm so glad you said that. To me, it's funny because it's like part of me is genuinely impressed. Like literally, I'm not even like trying to be like trolling the PDAC community, but this is also why the other part of me wants to get this fixed. Because here's the reality, and I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. The reason why they became like that, and I'm gonna give credit to Somni for this, is because he actually learned from the best community. What do we see in PDAC? Those are all, for those who have been here and who understand what I'm talking about, been here for a while, those are all Hex trades. First time I met somebody, he never talked about long-term staking, long-term holding, anything. It was just more like trade this, don't, date them, don't keep. But then he came, he learned, he realized what makes Hex so great in the community. We're here 99%, we don't care, we're not going there, we're going down with the ship. So all those great values that PDAI actually had was good. I even say I resonate with some of that. That's why I was like, yo, I may not buy the coin, but I respect them for what they do or what they believe, because I see myself being a Hexican hardcore where it's like, bro, we decided we're going to hold this thing. Like, but again, we have battle-tested software. We know it's good, 100% flawless, all this other stuff.
Versus so this that has been exposed as like flawed. Good. Like we know there's an exploit. Even those guys admit there's an exploit, but they're still pushing it as like you should buy the dip.
Exactly.
And then you can see on chain they buy the dip, and then the exploiter comes along and does it again. And
exactly. Does it again. And this is where I diverge. And I mean, I want them to hear me out, please. I genuinely no disrespect. Like, I love them. They're part of the crew. But I want them to understand the nuance. And I'll even go out of the way and speculate a little bit, saying this is probably what Richard got fascinated by. And maybe indirectly or directly talked about a little bit. I was like, wow, look at these PDAI people. They really trying to make this thing peg. And I was like, yo, they might do it, because if they continue to believe and everything is good. Guys, who had 3 cents? I saw it. I was like, yo, the PUSDC pegged first. Even the PUSDT was going on its way. The fucking CZ stopped following Somni. It's like, yo, we might be able to take this money, peg this, use the exchange, make them come in. Like, the idea was there. But again, one more time, that was before we knew about this part. So that's why Richard, that's why Richard didn't say nothing, because the core values were there. But then we found a problem. And I want you guys to dissociate the two. We don't hate you. We just want to fix the problem first. We're not saying don't believe PDAI. One guy that was a big PDAI who came on the Twitter space, and he said something really cool. I respect him for that. He's like, yo, I will hardcore this and that. What I've been telling my followers is like, obviously what you already bought. But he said, hey, stop buying until we figure out what to fix this. But he was not apologizing for believing what he believed. And that's what I was
Great. So Kareem, I'm going to interrupt you there, and I'm going to welcome Sami to the stream. So I'm gonna introduce Sami as like one of the most influential people in Pulse Chain. He is followed by CZ, who is has the one of the top 3 centralized exchanges in the world, and I am followed by Jesse Powell, who also has one of the top 3 centralized exchanges in the world. I pray that soon Pulse Chain can get a listing, and that we'll have really, really good days ahead of us. How's everything going for you, Sami?
It's great. I was going to go to the gym. I thought, you know what? You're my family now. Don't worry about the gym. We can do that a bit later. Very interesting, friends. You guys got to admit, before we get into any topic, man, it's very special that narratives erupt while prices are going down. That's very rare. So whether you agree with the token we shall not name that Richard didn't found or not, That's very, very important. Like you don't see it in any other chain, like Arbitrum, Optimism, all these other chains. You don't like Starknet. Okay, there's 2 users there, so I think there's a positive there. But also, I know we feel like we're beaten down, bro. We've been saying this for a long, long time. So yeah, I want to hear all your thoughts. And everything.
So look, I put this Easter egg in the title of the stream, and I want to hear what you think of this. So PDI has, maybe it has some sort of inflation thing going on with it. Isn't that what the US dollar has, is an inflation bug? So isn't it just mirroring reality anyway?
Yeah. Also, Richard bought Bitcoin. It had an inflation bug. Richard bought Bitcoin and didn't discover it until 7 years later. But like, let's be intellectually honest, guys. Like, okay, we are in a special case. Okay, so like, if you're gonna buy something with an inflation bug, you better be right. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I'm long. You better be right. You can't just say I'm just gonna ignore everything. Everything's gonna work out. There's this 50,000 things that have lined up to do that. But like,
what does that look like to like when you say being right? Like what does that look like to you?
Well, being right. I mean, like Richard tweeted. He tweeted it right there. Did you see his 20 PDI tweets? He said, "Well, guys, he left his clues. He left his clues. He literally said the fair value of a coin with an inflation bug is $0.
It is factually correct. Think about it.
He said that. So basically, what he's inviting you to do is question. Okay, why isn't this 0 yet? Why? Just
because it hasn't reached the fair value of 0 yet. Because you keep
trending towards.
Because people believe so much. People believe so much. The market's deciding that PDI is not worth 0 currently.
Yeah, but it's down 90% in less than 2 weeks. So my point
Hex is down. Hex is down.
I love Somni for this. Actually, this one thing that I'm gonna say this on camera that I love about Somni. He's very creative and entertaining. I think the problem is too much of that backfire because Richard was letting you do your thing, bro. I loved it. But then you squeezed it a little too much. Now you have to say something. You triggered that 18 tweets. I promise you. If you had just let it slide and don't try to read too much between the line, then he would have just been like, all right, cool, let's try to fix this. Because yes, he onboard people. We love PDI in terms of the people coming in, and you're heavily responsible for that. I want to give you a flower for it, for sure. But instead of like, hey, let's just put our head in the sand like an Austrian, just chill. Why don't we try to genuinely, I'm saying this, I'll be the first one to, hey, let's fix this thing. I want you guys to get rich. I want you guys to pay. But at the end of the day, the extractor don't give a fuck about us, me or you. He's just trying to be like, oh, they're here. Let me take some free money, because everybody that has access to free money, right? Let's be intellectually honest. Like you said, what the fuck do you think they're going to do? Take the free money. So how can we fix the thing instead of ignoring the thing and pretending, like you said, like it's not there?
Or what's the move?
Can we say something as well for everyone at home? Kareem, he's like light years ahead of everyone else I've ever spoken to. His first question Kareem is saying is, can we fix it? What can we do? Bro, you are the first guy to ask that question to me. I've never heard that question. Everyone on the counter side has said, we can't, it's wrong, we can't. And I'm like, bro, oh, wow. So out of 100 people I speak to, Kareem goes,
respect.
What can we do? What can we do? What can we, so that's all I say to people. Because the thing is, I don't know what's going to happen. Could be at 0 tomorrow, no crying in the casino. It's funny. People say to me, it can't be fixed. And I'm like, okay, you don't have 100% win rate of anything in life. No one does. We're not God.
Yes.
I can say, so people say to me, okay, what if it goes down to 0? I go, it goes down to 0. I wake up tomorrow, the sun goes up, we move on. And then I say the same thing to them. I go, okay, what if it starts to get fixed? And then their head literally explodes in real time. Like you just see the veins, Twitter space, people just go nuts. I'm like, but you know, Hex literally was founded on Richard Hart going on live streams, debating people, and they're saying the origin address, the inflation's too high, it can never go up. And Richard Hart's schooling him. He's like, bro, do you understand what Bitcoin does? Mm-hmm. And they're like, yeah, Bitcoin is like a store of value. Do you understand what a store of value is? You literally hold it and you do nothing. Richard literally talking to people. He's talking to all these people that trying to debate him and act like they're geniuses, and like they still don't get it. And you're watching it in real time. So I'm just showing you like when we go through these, it's
Mhm.
possible, you know, we're just watching another one of these things where they're like, hey, 20 things. That's what I think we're watching right now. 20 things are broken with Pulsemaker and Peter. 20 things are broken. Okay.
Mhm.
And all I'm saying is, you know what? Maybe in a year from now, 20 things aren't broken. Maybe 5 of them are fixed.
But right
Maybe.
now, we know there's an exploit that someone is using to basically like drain part of the chain, right? So why would we push people, draw attention to this when we know that's continuously happening? If that once that was stopped, if we knew it was done, that was no longer a problem, then maybe it could continue. But why would we do that right now? What is the benefit right now?
So here's the thing, though. Richard denounced it. Everybody's not talking about it. 99% of you guys are denouncing it already. If you're at home, you want to know the truth? The truth is there's only one key thing that has basically ignited everyone. It's the price chart. So everyone hates it. I've got them blocked, muted. I've heard Crypto Coffee and other people saying they've literally filtered out the word PDI from their Twitter. They don't even want to hear the word anymore. And I go, okay, we eradicated it. And I look at the chart and I'm like, that's weird. It's actually making higher lows on the FUD. Did you know that? Each
Yeah, but
FUD
watch
wave
out.
event.
He's saying
Well,
that for the last 3 days. Yeah, watch
here's-
out. Because
Chris,
he's-
go.
Here's a question for you. How much, don't answer if you already know the answer, right? But for the rest of you guys on the panel, what's a million PDI cost right now? You would lead you to believe you'd be like $50. Now it's like $2,500, right? So your point is there. I mean, it's still expensive.
Wow.
Yes.
It's still
So-
expensive.
So I have a question for Sami, and then we'll go to Kareem and keep going around the room. So Sami, my question for you is, I've kind of been drawing some parallels between your contrarian stand against others who are fighting PDI and like Roaring Kitty, and I'm wondering if you're having a Roaring Kitty moment where for those who aren't familiar with this, back in 2021, like the entire global financial system was found to be a fraud and rigged because Robinhood, they took away the buy button from the GameStop meme culture crew that was short squeezing the investment banks. And that's part of the reason why some of us believe in crypto so much. It's because of the Canadian truckers that happened this, I guess that was last cycle too. And the Roaring Kitty moment. And so that's why I'm wondering, like, Sami, are people, do you feel like there are people in Pulse Chain that are trying to take the buy button away?
Man, I watched you guys so much, man. I'm just going to tell it to you. You guys, everyone here on this panel, you are Roaring Kitty from 4 years ago. You guys showed crypto industry Bitcoin is not the only cult in crypto. You guys all of yous here. When Bitcoin halving happened, Hex was about 0.3 cents. Okay. Everyone said it was dead. Altcoin Daily was saying Richard's dumping. Elio Trades, they said it's over. Richard's debating everybody, Warlord Richard. It went up 150x. Okay. So you guys were the Roaring Kitty. You guys were the ones who basically showed some magic can happen pretty much. It baffles me. You're saying that to me now. Like, bro, like you guys did it. You should be almost here now, but I understand it's a different perspective with like things have evolved, things have moved differently. I've actually in one of my videos, I'll just explain it later on. So spoilers for you. So you gotta understand, friends. If you want to understand what Ridge is doing, in my opinion, you can go back and watch my video. I made a video called In Defense of Crypto Banter. And Randy Boo on Crypto Banter Show, he said, I don't understand what I got to do to make a coin. What do I do? And I actually answered it for him. And I said, look, man, when you have a popular network effect, you basically can't get everybody in early because no one's early anymore. Everybody's late. So you have to make like a game. You got to start it off organically and small and only have the believers. You can't make people think that they're just going to come in and get rich. If we launched Bitcoin again today, it wouldn't work out the same way it did. It had to have strong believers. By the way, Richard Hart knows that. That's why he's doing everything the way it is now. So I'm drawing all these similarities, but still, I know people, and people see me, they're like, hey, this guy's got peg nipples. He's got the Roaring Kitty bandana. He looks confident. Yeah, man, but guys, I literally, don't know if you guys know, I literally sold near the lows and I made my capitulation video and I made my tweet. And I'm like, well, I guess it's over, whatever. I'm just going to follow the 08. But then 30 minutes later, I got back in. So I literally did that. So like, if you want to know something, what happens if it doesn't work out, bro? It already happened. It literally just no crying in the casino and move on. But also for you listeners at home, these are the Titans. I watched all of you in 2020 and 2021. I learned everything off Kareem. I learned about the staking, the inflation, or just all this stuff. Just you blowing everyone in people's minds. And look, we're all part of this. We're all part of the same game, fans. It's just, I said this in Twitter Spaces, and it's true, man. I really wish, say, PDI's up in 2 years. It's up like 160x since Richard Hart got attacked by the SEC. I wish Pulse Chain core coins were up like 10, because then you're like dealing with wins and like you're splitting hairs. It's just unfortunate that, look, if you really want to know what I think what we're seeing right now is Richard letting us know Ethereum is not going to what he thought it was going to go to. That's what I think.
No, that's true, but it's also related to what you've been talking about too. I fall down a lot for the macro, the business ISM. But when the Trump tariffs kicks in on April 2nd and more stuff, we might get that 52 you've been looking for, and then things can accelerate really, really fast, and bundling liquidity is going to start making everything fly. So it just again, that's why we say it's time in the market, not timing the market. Yes, it took a little bit longer. Now I can say also, what if we get a double bull market after a double bear market? The same way nobody thought, we'll pump the way we pumped in 2021, even me. But I was like, I'm not trying to time the market. I'm just going to play the long haul, right? And that's why it's so important, because when you play timing the market, you might get it once or twice, but the moment you don't, you get liquidated. That's why some of my friends, 500 Bitcoin, thousands of Ethereum. You think you're a genius, even though you were just, like you were saying in one of your video, where you never had it where you have to face a real bear market, where where if BTC is going down, where it's like, oh, all season, you just shoot darts, everything goes up. Now it's like you have to grind it. And that's literally where the difference is. And if I may, this is very important, Sonny, this is for you, and I'm glad you're here. I wish we made in better circumstances, but what I'm about to say is very important, okay? Because it is true, and this is why I want to give you credit. I watch a lot of your videos, and a lot of things that you're talking about is some of the key value that we like to, instill to Hexagon, where it's like, again, when you play the long-term game, when you buy the dips, when you understand that the real price only matters at the end of that stake, everything else is just a buying the dip opportunity. And you were able to instill that to the PDI community, and that was really, really good to see. I was just grateful that PDI is in Pulse Chain, so we all benefit from that. And then I know personally some people go, oh, Kareem, I'm not early as you, blah, blah, blah. I really want to do the PDI thing instead. And I was like, all right, cool. But as long as you understand what is it that you're doing and you have the core value, if you really want to make it. And I've seen you make that juxtaposition where you take the hex values in terms of long-term belief, right? Staking, don't buy it, don't believe the FUD or whatever. But again, it's also because the backbone was, again, that really, really powerful software that's 100% uptime, no bug, this, that, because that's the core. So what I will bring to you is this. Again, I'm a solution-oriented person. I hate victims. That's why I come down hard on people like when they make that bet, like you were saying in some of your video, and then they get washed out, and then they come back and want to cry and go to daddy. But like, hey, where were you to do? No, you went to do the thing on your own. So take the win or take the L. Don't complain to everybody else. So my question to you is, if we're able to potentially find a solution, would you be willing to, again, be very specific. We're not saying stop the narrative, stop this. I don't want people to stop losing belief. We're just saying we're potentially pausing, buying the dip with the blind eye until we can actively put that resource towards, hey, can this be fixed? The greatest thing that Abdul's been saying, some of those solutions, can we really get like community support? Because just like in Hex, when you have a strong belief and you get community support about the mission, what is it that you're trying to do? I'll be like those 45,000 people that I'm saying you and other people have onboarded the last year and a half. They're probably watching this right now and thinking like, hey, can we fix this so we can go back to buying the dips and chilling? Because I think that will be key. And stop just antagonizing people. I know, because in the past, being in sales, I've seen that before. Where the reason why some people, they get mad is because when they're trying to help you or give you advice, they don't want to hear like, oh, you stupid, oh, you're a hater, oh, you're fighting me, because they will take it as, oh, you're not taking the valuable advice. You think this is a smoke screen. You can't call something a FUD when we can watch the guy on the blockchain dumping. That's not FUD. Now, does that mean you have to stop believing? No. It's just like, all right, cool. We acknowledge, right? First step, we acknowledge that there's an issue. How can we fix the issue? We're not jumping ship. We're not telling people to sell. We're just saying there's an issue. How can we acknowledge that and fix it? Because I'll be the first one to even help you. And I got zero PDAI. But just you doing that, then I can go back to some people and be like, all right, guys, he got the message. He's not just shilling blindside. Because if you don't do that, then we're going to think like, all right, cool. He's just leading the sheep to the slaughter. And then we have to take the other approach, which is, hey, how can we save those people from losing more money?
We're going to send Kareem back to college to get a dev degree.
So
fix PDAI.
He's funny. No, but I'm being serious, though. I'm being serious because he's making a great point. And I hate to see people take L's, especially in our community. Now, I got to take a pulse change us. At the end of the day,
that's the question, Kareem. Like, why, like, Somi, why not pause shilling PDAI until the exploit is resolved?
And put that energy towards, hey, what can we do?
Here's the thing, sirs. I'm not sure if you guys watch my videos. I have not gone a day without saying PDAI is broken. Pulsemaker's broken. I say that every day. I say that every day. I don't know why everyone missed that. I say this every day. It's broken. It doesn't work now. We can't peg it tomorrow. But I'm not sure if you know this, Kareem. You know who blocks me a lot? PDAI maxis. You want to know why? Because I say a controversial thing where I'm like, bro, I don't think we can't peg tomorrow. There's pieces we're not seeing. And then that takes away their dream. So then they're like, oh, this guy's fudding, right? So just to share that with you. So why everyone's confused is I know how to navigate uncertainty. So I come in, I'm like, look, I don't know the solution. I'm not a tech guy. I'm not a blockchain guy. I've got no idea, okay? I'm a believer, just like early Bitcoin guys had to be believers. You don't know what a Bitcoin halvenings. You don't know what Bitcoin miners are. You don't know how the code works at the start. That's when Richard Hart bought, by the way. He bought 20 grand worth at $32, drops to $2. And by the way, as Bitcoin recovers, Satoshi rugs him and literally abandons, right? So all this uncertainty, I know that, I learned that off Richard, right? The most uncertainty was at the start. I know that all with Pulse Chain and Makeup and Peter. I know there's complete uncertainty. The only thing I've told everyone is I acknowledge I don't know what the hell's going on, but I think there's a solution out there. But markets, friends, you're at home, markets are smart, okay? You want someone to come down and show you mathematically, hey, there are 10 things we can do. And if we start doing 5 of them, that means the thing is going to get fixed and you can buy your 1000x. The market does not give you a free lunch like that, okay? If people get a whiff that someone else is involved here, that the actor isn't bad, that there is a solution, it will be already reflected in the price action, okay? Because it's funny, everybody's already binary thinking $0 or $1. It's not like that. It's like, well, now we're about 400x away to $1 on this coin, okay? So as more people start to see, wait a minute, I thought there was an inflation bug. Now there's not. Okay, maybe that pushes it up a bit. Then they start to see, wait a minute, there are people who are voting in the background and they seem to be benevolent to the chain to do this. Okay, then that increases even more. So if you, like, I am comfortable with extreme uncertainty. I'm completely comfortable with that because, by the way, Hex at the start, you literally can't get more extreme than one guy who maybe controls 95% of the coins telling you it's better than Bitcoin. Never happened before, you know. So I've learned all these, you know. That's what I navigate is good. So people see me navigating uncertainty, and then they think, wow, maybe you know something. Go, no. I just understand that, like, uncertainty, you got to run towards that in markets. So I want everyone to understand that. I've never ever said I never come and say, hey, I know the answer or this. I never. Everyone who's watched me, they're like in shock. They're like, wait, how are you long when you don't know the answer? And I will tell them, did Richard Hart know there was answers? What the hell's a Bitcoin halvening? You've never seen that before. Everything that's early, complete uncertainty. That's just what it is here. I just see there's too much magic here. I mean, the judge's name is Judge Peggy. PDAI's bottom is exactly 555,555x to $1. PDAI was minted by the exploiter 2 days before Pulse Chain testnet launch. I can go through on and on and on all these things. And look, okay, you give me one of those stuff, I'm like, all right, could be random. But then I stacked 15 of those things up. I even made a graph, friends. I spent yesterday counting Richard Hart's tweets for March. He tweeted 29 times about PDI and only 13 times about Pulse Chain and 4 times about Hex. I'm like, that's weird for something you're not involved with.
Is? What's the reason he'd do that? Was it positive or negative towards PDI?
The reason, look, I don't know the reason. You're gonna have to ask him.
Look, this is the funny thing, right? I'll give you that. Listen, this is the reason why, again, to some degree, I've been entertained. And not that I said I'm going to speak for Richard, but again, I've been with Richard quite a while. It's like the value is definitely there. I'm not using it per se, but like the PDI community, to some extent, have some of the same strong beliefs Hex community has.
Of course they do. Most of them are Hexicans.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is, even the new people that came in and listening to your video and some of the call stuff like this is the value we're trying to preserve. I'm going to be very, very clear. This is why I'm going out of my way and trying to see if we can potentially help this. If it was just a straight up shitcoin, no offense, or regular meme, buy this, 2 hours later, sell, move on to the next thing, I wouldn't even waste a fucking minute on this conversation. I'd be like, see you later, bye, stop wasting my time. I don't even want the airtime. I don't even want you on the show. I'd be like, no. But because I see some of the core value, and I know what it's like to be a believer, and you really, really deep inside, this thing can be good. That's why I'm like, because I know for a fact, guys, I'm being serious. To tell the guy, when you're hardcore, the same way I'm hardcore, you tell me not to buy it, it's not gonna work. I'm telling you right now. I'm like, yeah, and I'm gonna go buy it. Because
Kareem, can I tell you, bro?
It does.
Yeah.
Now it's like,
can I just I want to share with you, this is very important, guys. So Hex, first cycle, the gentleman on this panel, okay? You locked up your money 5, 10, 15 years.
Yes, sir.
You are a believer. That is Richard Hart. He mathematically figured out what's belief. He would, Richard would say it on stream. He goes, you literally impossibly cannot beat this. You can't beat people locking up their money for a long time. It's literally the highest form of dedication. Okay. That stuck in my head. When I started to research stablecoins, MakerDAO, how DAI works. Once I started to look at it, my mind was blown. Because I used to think it was just a boring one-for-one thing. I thought, okay, it's always going to be one. But then, once I started to look at how the pegging mechanisms works, how these defense mechanisms work, there's a reserve protocol that was tested as well. It looked like there's a fortress castle, and there's different waves of an army coming in, and people have to hold the line. And I'm looking at it, and now, because now I've learned from Richard, I'm trying to see it through his lens. Because here's the thing: most people say, "Is this thing going to $1 or not?" I wasn't asking that question at the start. I was asking, why would Richard even do this in the first place? Once I start to ask that, then I could figure it out. Then I started to look. I haven't figured out anything. Right? It's just a guess. So I just started to see. Okay, if you had a stable coin that was built, okay, you would want there to be the maximum diehard cultist holders. You must, because every stable coin is just backed by belief as well. Even if it's a $1 in a bank account, it's backed by belief. So once I started to think about that more, a lot of the stories started to make sense to me. I mean, and oh, by the way, no one can take this away. If I'm not saying we're going to move up or down, I don't freaking know. Okay. Yeah, no. However, if the price goes back to 1 cent to 3 cents, it makes a higher high. I think everyone will now be paying attention to what I've been saying. And what I've been saying is
for the traders, but the people who think it's going to $1 will be exit liquidity.
Okay, but yeah, I'm not forget the price. I'm thinking about if you were a mastermind trying to do this, you would feel glorified because you're like, haha, these people who held down here, who bought more, you can't get more of a believer than that. I literally walked away from it and they still believed. So
yeah,
look, I don't know if I don't know if that, by the way, I'll tell you, friends, I don't know if that's happening. Okay. I could be going cuckoo. I've drawn similarities between Richard Hart and Hex, same guy, same founder. That's what I'm saying. So I don't know, friends. It could be it's broken now. So okay.
Well, Richard
so
just tweeted 17 times about this in a negative fashion. You can't honestly believe that he is positive about PDI in any way. Like, I can tell you're a native English speaker. You understand what he's saying. You understand the sarcasm. You understand the nuance. He's saying this is bad. Stay away from it. There's an expert.
But you understand what Sami's saying. Do you understand what Sami's saying?
Bro? Yeah, he's saying it's bad right now. And then look,
Mhm.
I won't be surprised if in the next 30 or 90 days, right, let's imagine there are like 20 red circles horizontal. Each one represents a bad thing wrong with PDI and make it out. There's 20 red ones, okay? And if it turns good, it becomes green. I will bet he will update his worldview as one becomes green, another one becomes green. That's what I'm taking the bet on. Could be wrong. Could be wrong. By the way, if you're in early Hex, you have to take the bet as well that the origin address doesn't dump on your face because it's never been done before like that as well. So
Let me make it easier for you. Let me make it easier for you. I can make your case even better, but I want to warn you about something that I'm trying to help the community of PDI avoid, right? Because here's the thing people don't understand about, especially in DeFi world. The lower the price go on real DeFi, the less the person can actually truly affect the price. Because again, liquidity is low, but the lower price needs more coin. The lower you go, you need more coin to affect. So if everybody sells and already done, and it's only the guy that manipulates the price, the guy that takes money out involved, if he sells, but more people buy, price will go up. So I'm gonna remind you one more important thing about Hex. Inflation, as crazy as it sounds, you can have 100% inflation, 150% inflation, right? Call it a buck, call it whatever you want. Just do math. If you have 150% inflation, but you onboard people at 200 to 300%, price goes up. That's just math. In other words, it doesn't mean that what you're saying or what you're defending is true or not true. It's just math. Hex had 10 times more inflation in the beginning, 100 times even. And even for the first year, we were paying crazy, but the price was going up because when the people come in and they buy the dip of the people selling, price go up. When we start going down,
the same as Bitcoin as well.
We have had the least inflation that we ever had, but yet because the negative sentiments are switched, only the hardcore believers stayed, of course, and then the other people are getting washed out. Now, us, the hardcore, we still buying, but again, price is going down because although we're buying, we're not able to offset the people who are selling. So again, that's just market movement. To then brings me to you to say, I can make the case for you that the way you're able to shield certain things, that's a compliment, by the way, I want to be very clear. It's so powerful in a certain way that if everybody already sold, the only person that can continue selling is actually the exploiter. If he's selling, let's say 200,000 in PDI, but then you rally the troop and people are buying a million PDI, price will go up. But then again, the higher the price starts to go back up, what I just said, reverse. The higher the price, every time it means free money, it's more economic energy. So he's able to push the price down. This is why they turn into bear flags. They rise, right? You get the higher lows, and then that trend breaks, and then all of a sudden, it's a massive red candle. So all I'm saying is, the community is there, the belief is there, is how can we help fix this thing once and for all, if it's possible, so that the people don't get the massive red candle later? Because I will say one more thing about Richard Heart that you haven't talked about in your video. If he really wanted to murder this thing, like you say, he had 12 billion PDI, he could have just sold the entire thing. He has
good point, bro. Why didn't he?
Hold on.
Put a sell wall at 0.000001. You mean?
I'm about to explain it to you because right now, believe it or not, the little warning shot that he's been doing is actually helping you guys. You don't even realize because he's playing chicken with the exploiter because he's pushing the price down to stop the guy from doing the free mint thing. That's the 4D chess you're not even watching. Because if you push it all the way to zero, he already made the joke in one of the tweets. You probably missed it. He's like, bro, this thing has like 300K, 400K liquidity. It's not even worth my time, respectfully. I mean, the guy's worried about Ethereum going up so we can get millions of liquidity and then get DAIs minted because he's using it as collateral to mint more DAI and pump the chain. He ain't worried about 300,000. Number two, you know how people think.
So let's hear Sami's response to that before we get into more points. Like, let's have a back and forth.
I'm gonna jog up.
Yeah, I don't want to. Like, I've repeated a lot of just. I've got to bounce back to everything. You're saying he could be playing chicken with the exploiter.
Yeah,
Trayvon just found out the exploiter talked exactly like him. Another thing as well.
That doesn't mean nothing. Trayvon is known to no friends.
I know it doesn't. But also, he could be buying the dip too. I made my video I think 2 days ago. I just had a theory. I was like, well, maybe he's bearish on Ethereum. Maybe he's got to accumulate more of the supply because the collateral of Ethereum can't carry as much as he thought. That's just another one I'm thinking.
That's
as well.
a cool theory.
Here's the first part for your breaking news. When you are bounding liquidity, he's forced to receive coin that he doesn't like. When you set the game, right, and you're the first liquidity provider, and people take their valuable Pulse X, Hex, whatever, and then sell it for PDA or whatever, what ends up happening is that you end up accumulating the coin that you don't really like, but you end up getting because you're just the one that provided the liquidity. The same way all the coin who got harvested in the beginning, that's why he ended up with a lot of PDAI. That doesn't mean he bought it. That just means that how to set the game. He had to have a bunch of it. And if people are selling it, dumping it to buy the other coin because they're running away, he ends up with a lot of those coins. That doesn't mean he bought it. But I get what you're saying. But again,
Kareem, can I? No. Like, no. Look, the guy. If you can't figure, look. I'm just saying it's believers, okay? There's probably wallets
Right.
out there accumulating. But look. Kareem, do you know there isn't an inflation bug, sir? Do you know that the supply and it looks like it's going up because it's withdrawing from the vault? Are you
Yes.
aware of that?
Yes.
You aware of that?
Yes, I watched
Okay.
your video about that too. But again, you got to pick the timeline correctly. I know your video. I watch you, bro. I watch you. You said it best. It went
Yeah,
down.
no. I'm just sharing for everyone out here because when I say like infinite minting bug, it's a joke term. It's not. There's not actually infinitely minting. It's drawing from a vault. And then only one guy can do it. No one else can replicate it. And they're only doing it on the PDI. There's a lot of these things. But like I said, man, whenever we come with these, I completely agree, bro. Like, I look, everything you're saying is true. The price reflects that, okay? I'm just long because I think out of 30 things that are broken, at least a few of them can get fixed. You see, the controversy, though, people come in and they say, all 30 problems can't get fixed, Sammy, and you won't convince me. I'm like, but I'm not trying to convince you. I don't care if you think 30 can get fixed. Right now, I see a sea of people who are saying 0 can get fixed out of 30. And all I'm saying is like, wow, 0? Really? So you're giving us 0 odds? I'm taking the other side of that, man.
those are extreme.
That's where I come from.
Extremists for sure.
Right.
Like, I also want to say as well, I've told many people times, if we had the exact same information as we do today, okay, based off everything, and PDI was right now, was at maybe like 20 cents, I'd be out. Because I'm like, 50% chance that Richard Hart's involved, 50% chance he can peg. My fair value is around 25 cents. There you go. But there's no free lunch, guys. When we get to 20 cents, if we got to 20 cents, okay, it's not going to be like this. There'll be a lot of things moving around.
Oh, yeah.
There'll be more
Arbitrage bots will kick in. People will bring liquidity just to peg this thing to get the last 2.
That's right. Richard might do some tweets. Some things. It's not going to be uncertain like now. The market moves up with certainty and it moves down with uncertainty. You don't get a world where everyone has sold something 90% and you're the magical wizard and you know exactly, you don't get that unless you're literally the orchestrator behind it. There is no perfect answer. It's a matter of faith.
That's what I backed you up for that. To your point, speculation is a great part of this whole game, if you want to call it, because without that, you can't get 10,000 hex or whatever. You have to believe, you have to speculate, you have to explain how it could get there. But again, we got to fix the tech because this is why I'm telling you about this, the Richard and the 12 billion, because I don't think he has lost completely hope because, again, he prided himself like we are to be really decentralized. We're not trying to be kingmaker and tell this coin shouldn't be doing, this coin shouldn't be that. Remember the EHEX scenario? That was the same thing he talked about. He said what he said, but then he didn't just murder the price.
Perfect. We got to talk about that, guys. Talk about that. If I thought, guys, a year ago, March 13th, I know the date. I thought Richard was making a wrong move. How stupid of me. I was getting played. Okay. He knew exactly what he was doing. He was shaking out the weak hands. And here I am standing up. I said, you know what? This isn't right. You shouldn't be doing this, right? And bro, no one even talks about the chart. Do you know if you held EHEX? Yeah, if you held EHEX and then Richard fudded after it, do you know it ran up 60% against Pulse since before he tweeted? Literally,
you're welcome.
You see what I mean, man? So like, and by the way, he could have killed. Yeah, he could have killed it with the OA. And by the way, also, BankX had 880 million EHEX. What do they have now? 200 million. So like, that's what I'm saying. But here's the thing, of course. That's why the more we have these combos,
another flawed
the more we
protocol.
have the. Sorry, say that again, sir.
And BankX was another flawed protocol that Pulse Chain hasn't done well with.
That's right.
So right now we have just on YouTube live, there's a poll and it's asking who's winning the PDI debate. I don't know if we're having a debate, but like two sides are being presented, right? Two sides are being presented. So the choices are pro PDI and against PDI. And my hope is that this truly reflects like that the community is coming together to have like an intelligent conversation.
Maddie,
So
can we add it to the
I'm
option?
Hey, I'd like
very
to-
grateful.
I'd like to
I'm
say-
very
Mr. Crispy?
grateful that everybody's here.
I'd like to
Crispy,
say
go.
a couple things. Can you guys
Please.
not interrupt me for a minute? Let me just do this. I think for everybody listening, right, I think we have come to some conclusions, right, which I think are accurate, that this is DeFi. People can do what they want. We all agree that if there's a problem, I think we agree if there's a problem, maybe somebody should do something to fix whatever the problem is. For people who are listening, we know that to the extent that we have all the facts, PDI is broken, quote unquote, at the moment, broken. So nobody can tell you for certainty that it's going to go to $1, right? So we know that, right? So if you are going into PDI, you do it with the knowledge that this is DeFi, you do what you're going to do as a user. You're taking the risk. You're taking the risk, right? All right. That's one set of problems. The other set of problems is the draining of the LP. If that's truly a problem, it isn't all these users necessarily have to talk to, because they're putting value in, somebody's taking value out. Who has the $1 million worth of value up there that's willing to let it get drained? And that's happening, right? So somebody's getting drained. Maybe they're getting drained underneath that belief. But again, this is DeFi. And if they're taking the pulse out and they're converting it to stables, that's within their rights to do it, right? So I'm not really sure what we can do, because it's DeFi. We're able to, share information with people. Maybe people should stop. I don't know, but nevertheless, right? I mean, invest in your own risk. Do your own risk. Do your own research.
Yeah, like I said, all valid points. That's why the price is where it is. But when you invest, you don't invest for today. You invest for what the world might look like in 12 months from now. So I'm long. People ask me, why are you long? And I say, well, I see 30 things broken, and I think there will be at least one thing fixed in the next 24 months. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know how it's going to be. I think there'll be at least one thing fixed. That's literally all I'm betting on. And what I love about it is because it's 30 things broken and nothing's working, it's the easiest bet for me. It's the most uncertainty. It's the easiest bet. Everything's broken. Oh, sweet. Everyone's out. So the toughest one will be if there were like 25 things fixed and the price is like 20 cents now. And then everyone's like, hey, do we need Ethereum higher to collateralize? It's different levels of certainty. It's literally the same thing all over again. But also, I think we've got to remind everyone as well, friends, there's no free lunch money in crypto. Okay. You want safe crypto? Go buy Bitcoin. Okay, literally go buy Bitcoin and then enjoy like your 80% gain. Okay, that's it. If you want the highest gains, this is the uncertainty that comes with it. So I don't even see these. I love these discussions. We're basically just summarizing the price. That's it. We're basically summarizing the price. Someone comes out and says, hey, I think in the next 12 months we're going to print red candles. And then I'm on the other side saying, I think in the next 12 months it'll print green candles. I see it as simple as that. I can't point to the specifics, man. I'm not, look, everybody who if you know the technical stuff, you literally can fudge yourself out of the bags, man. There's 1,000 things that can go wrong. Imagine trying to have a baby out here and imagine literally trying to have a baby. There are 400,000 things that can go wrong with the birth of a little baby. You know what I mean? If you stress yourself out, you literally can't do anything about it. It's either going to work or it's not. That's what it comes down to. That's how I view these things. Yeah, of course, people they latch onto my confidence because I'm like, hey, how do you swim in so much uncertainty? And I'm like, bro, you're in crypto. Do you understand? You're literally in the riskiest, most volatile asset of all kind. You're swimming in this uncertainty. The government can't save us. If you send your address the wrong amount of money, it's literally gone forever. There's hacks. There's freaking, and then by the way, it makes the things even worse. When someone makes a crypto like Richard Hart, 8 clones appear and then imitate him. We're always swimming in this world of uncertainty. But what makes this special and unique is as the candle went down, I ramped up my frequency of videos. No one's ever seen that. I promised everybody I was going to do this 2 years ago. I said, guys, when everything crashes in any coin, I'm going to make more videos. I'm going to show you everyone is a coward and fraud running away from these. And the most they'll ever do is they'll put a daily chart RSI and they go, oh, maybe there's a bullish thing down here, and not look at it for 3 months. Okay, that's what it comes down to. And look, I believe in Richard Hart. I'm not going to do this for everyone, for anyone else, because I don't want to bet against that guy, man. Guys, we were here for the Pulse Chain. You guys were here. How many haters came back for 2021? They're like, you know what? I hate him, but he's smart. Like you don't want to bet against this guy. That's why before Richard did his tweet, I was saying, okay, I think Peter is just a bet on whether he's involved or not, right? And then he played in. He was reading that, bro. He played into it. He goes, I'm not the founder. Peter is stupid. He basically took that away from everyone, and I'm still holding. And that's why people who don't believe that, you know, what I mean, they get out. So we're seeing all this erratic behavior and stuff out here. But yeah, it's beautiful when everyone gets to share their opinions, and there is no certainty. But I think I'd love to see if you guys can ask you guys. There's 30 things broken right now. Okay. Would you think Richard's involved if 5 things fix in the next 2 months and PDI is back at 2 cents from here? That's a 10x. Would you think he's involved? I want to go around everyone. I'm just curious. What would you guys think just off the bat from today? Mr. Fast Abdul, we can start from you.
Go ahead, Fast.
No, probably not. I think it's not his token, and the only reason he's spoken about it recently because he felt like it went too far. Normally, his risk diode is he does not talk about things he thinks are unfavorable, and he broke that on this one because I think he just snapped. So I don't think he's going to touch it. I don't think he's going to fix it. I think if there's any success in terms of fixing it, it's going to have to come from the community somewhere.
So for my game theory on whether Richard believe or whether, you know, if PDI is much more successful in the near future, having some things fixed and the price is 2 cents, would I guess that Richard is behind fixing it or behind it? And my answer to that is that I think the game theory of Richard would really suggest like there's I think that it's more impressive if this chain can be decentralized for Richard. And so there's a reason why he's probably doing things hands off more than just the idea that like, you know, maybe he could be developing PDI in secret in order to like make it more successful. Like I'm hearing that that's part of the narrative, and like, yeah, if something's done in secret, then you don't know it. And if you, and I think it's really fun. And part of the reason we do these shows for 226 weeks now in a row is because it is so fun to speculate on like, what will Richard do? And like, you know, what's the secret game theory that is being hinted at from time to time? And so, so I think it's a really good question. Personally, I would be very surprised if Richard was, you know, behind it, even if things get fixed. But I'm even more certain that I think Richard would be proud of the community fixing it themselves and of like the decentralization narrative to like go great. Now, the last point I'll make is that we have like really great examples in the past of the whole time that Pulse Chain was being developed and the whole time that Hex was being developed, where Richard, he wanted to hear people's best theories in like, he was consuming all of the best ideas that the community could come up with. And he was acting on those. And so that's why I encourage people, when you do have like, you know, a really good game mechanic or game theory, or like if you have a fix to something, write an essay about it on Twitter, you know, make a YouTube video about it and get other people talking about it, because that's the evidence that we do have of what Richard does get involved in is things that that people are bringing good ideas.
Can I just quickly say before we go to Crispy, he's got you by the balls, man. Well done, Richard. If you're going to watch this, well done. Because if you asked me, do you think people would believe it's randomly by chance if the price recovered and not I'm involved? If I was in the room with him, I'm like, dude, bro, the coin went down 98%. Everything on this chain dies after 98%. If it goes back up, they'll figure out it's you. And I'm literally watching it in real time. You go, nah, could be by chance. It's going to look like an organic Federation DAO comes in. They're going to buy the maker tokens. They're going to vote. They're going to do stuff. I love his. It's working. It's making me more bullish. I guess that's why he's a billionaire and I'm not. Please continue, Mr. Crispy Man.
Mr. Moderator, please repeat the question. It's- So what is the question to me at this point, Sami? What do you want to know?
Oh yeah, so we're just speaking about like 30 things are broken now. Okay, just like your random guess now. If like 5 things got fixed step by step and the price was up, let's say PDI's back to 2 cents or 3 cents. Would you, looking at it now, would you be a bit suspicious? I mean, like, that's weird. The first thing to break on this chain that actually got fixed is actually working, or would you think no, it could still be community?
Listen,
it could be chance.
I'm already suspicious, right? So that's
Bro,
just
you should be long. You should be long, Crispy, with me, bro.
Not all this stuff. Who says I'm not long? Anyways, that's besides the point. Hey, listen. Here, this is how I feel about it. First off, Richard never said he was involved. Now he said he isn't involved. Is not. Is not. So unless he changes what he says, no, I wouldn't. Just because things got fixed and moved along and went to 2 cents. No, this is crypto. I wouldn't. It wouldn't automatically make me believe that I have proof that he's behind it. Right. That's all I'm saying. This is the multiverse, man. Anything that's possible that I can dream up can happen. And so, they're like, I chuckle at some of the stuff, and I know what I get. The concern is that, when we talk about our conspiracy type stuff, that will lead to some people buying, right? And so in the background, there's that kind of like Richard idea that, hey, maybe we shouldn't talk about anything that's not the right thing, whatever that is. But yeah, dude, I wouldn't be surprised to wake up tomorrow and find out that, quote unquote, it's fixed. Man, I know about as much about what's going on as I do the Ukraine. I mean, it's all a bunch of information from a bunch of experts, many of whom on both sides that I respect, right? I don't know what the hell's going to happen, but all I can do is go look at the chart and go, well, what the hell's happening with the chart and what are people doing? So I'll take the risk, the moderate risk of whatever I'm going to do, and people need to be careful. That's all.
Yeah, Mr. Kareem, but as well, bro, you're a chart boy too, bro. The hex, the PDI.
I got you. You don't have to guess me. I'll tell you. Okay, I'll even give you a bonus how to get there, right? Which is cool. But I really want you to pay attention to what I'm about to say. It's very important. And I want to apologize ahead of time. It's going to be a little long-winded. So it goes back to what you were saying earlier, right? A lot of those things in life, it's not extreme, this or that. And I wish, Maddie, that poll that you ran earlier, I wish we can add a third option, because I want to even propose a third option. It could actually potentially help move things forward, because I like to fix things, not just complain or this or that. I was like, how can we fix it? So number one, very important, like Crispy perfectly said it, I don't think Richard is involved. That being said, he has said multiple times, and we also too, there's something about updating your worldview. That only happened when you deserve it, when you actually show the market and people are like, listen, we're serious. We're not going away. We're trying to fix this. Because there's a lot of people in life, problems, they talk about fixing it, and then it gets too hard, and then they bounce. And there's people who are diehard, who stay, who fix it, and then they go on that revenge, I told you so, and people come back. But because they earned that right. You have to earn the right for Richard to potentially change his worldview. Hear exactly what I said. That means right now, not involved, right now, not interested. But if you earn that right, because he's like me, we can't ignore data. PDI has onboarded people to Pulse Chain. That is a fact. We have Pulse Chain. It's not just Hex. So we have to welcome new people coming in. We are literally talking about it at Vegas, how we're trying to get a new project to come and this and that. We have to share the love to some degree. And we would love to share the love with things who have core value like we are. Long-term believer, not just going to come here, cheat the community, take the liquidity and bounce. That's why back in the day, we were liking Hedron, because same thing, core value, how to amplify what's already there. And to some extent, PDI has that. And this is why I'm reminding you, he hasn't fully destroyed it, which it could. He's just playing chicken with the exploiter, lowering the price to make him mint less. And technically, compared to how much he was minting before, when the price was a penny, and now it's less and less, because the more he might mint, the more Richard might push the price down, just to stop making him to mint and buy you guys time in order, that's my speculation, to try to fix it. Because if he had made a black and white decision, he sent that thing to zero, too many coins, there's no amount of buying that can fix that, and it's just like the chart just forever dies. We're trying to avoid that, which brings me to the next point, which is solution, right? How do we get to the solution? Number one, like myself, please, let's slow down the narrative of Richard this, Richard that. Nobody likes it, especially myself and Richard is saying, when we're being, quote unquote, told what we said when we're actually good communicators. We said what we said. Let's stop interpreting. Because when you do that, you create a reactional effect, and now people don't want to help you. They're going to be like, oh, since you're going to manipulate what I'm saying, then I'm not going to fucking help you. See you later. Bye. The same way in the early days, I did a great summary of what P-Dye and why Richard was putting the ETH over there, what it was good. And I did that for the community, why it's a good idea long-term, and earning the money from the treasuries and bring them in. But then people twisted it. And then at that point, I was like, bro, I'm not part of this anymore. Instead of just coming correct, but like, hey, how can we make this work? Which brings me to the next point, which is you're talking about 5 points. I think you don't even need 5 something. You only need 2. The first 2 can trigger. But how do you get there? Like, A, stopping telling people like, hey, nothing to see here. Keep pumping, keep buying. No, but like, all right, guys, we're still here. We're not going anywhere. But there's an issue. How do we galvanize the truth? Who do we need to talk to fix this? All the things that Abdul spend the time talking about too, because don't alienate the people that's trying to help you. Don't tell the people that try to give you feedback, oh, you're just funny. Oh, because when they hear that, then they don't want to help you. They're gonna be like, yo, fuck you, because you're not hearing what I'm saying. I'm bringing this up because I actually take the time out of my day to tell you this thing, because we Hexican, we care. That's why we're saying this stuff. But when we're trying to help you and tell you what's wrong, especially people who have dev background like Faster Do, and all we hear is, oh, you're just fronting, it doesn't make people want to help you, especially when you're the one that don't even have the tech background. It's more like, all right, cool, thanks for taking the time to even spend the time to talk about this. What is wrong? How can we fix? What are our options? And then that's what I used to do with product manager. All right, option 1, maybe we don't have the money for that. Option 2, hey, can we talk to the P maker guys? Maybe we can raise some money. Like, that will be a plan of action. So when people are potentially buying the dip, they know why they're buying the dip for. You get what I'm saying? When I tell people buy the dip, you turn into a T-share, you stay for 15 years, you have a money printer making you, working for you. That's valuable, because I told them collect T-shares. Don't care about the price. Lower price, more T-share, more extension. There's a mission. There's a goal behind the buying the dip. You can't just say buy the dip just to buy the dip. Well, the bug is still out there, because in the long run, the promised land doesn't get reached. It's like, yo, we're going to the promised land with somebody or whatever. But where the fuck is the GPS? Like, where do we go? Which highway we got to take? How many miles? Which direction? We need to have a path.
Where is it?
Where we're going. Does that make sense? Because I'm not a fodder. I'm not trying to feel. I have respect for P-Dye people in terms of where I resonate with them as a Hexican. I resonate with the diehard, the long term, the hey, everybody's against us. I love that, because I love to be that guy, because we were that guy. But again, we were blessed. We don't have that bug in Hex. So how can we help you fix the first 2 or even 1 at a time? Don't worry about 5. Get to 1. Then you get to 2. Then you catch momentum. Now, Richard can say, again, I'm speculating. Oh, they stop being fucking delusional. Oh, they acknowledge there's a problem. Oh, they're trying to galvanize the troop to help. Hey, maybe, wink, wink, they try to fix this thing, and maybe they need some extra P-Dye. Wink, wink, maybe I'll help them. But if it's like, oh, there's no bug, everything's cool, we're the best, they don't like us, blah, blah, blah. No, there's no path. Now we're just going to dump on your head and be like, yo, see you later, bye. But if there's actually a path, we can fix it. That's what it means. That's what it means to update your worldview. It's not you switch.
Beautiful, Kareem.
It's like,
beautiful.
Yo,
so we got on the screen here. We got Richard just tweeted. You guys may have heard of him, Richard Hartwin on Twitter. Follow and
watching the show.
Follow all the speakers here on Game Theory Gang. So Richard says, congratulations to the multiple exploiters minting P-Dye out of thin air today and selling it on Pulse Chain! One exploiter is even messaging you on chain today, explaining how he's doing it! One of the new accounts minted 180K worth today. And the one that sent this message only minted like 12K ? How many more exploiters will figure out the free money hack ? And then there's like a broken link to Otterscan, like a version that's Gamma DevOps. and then it's
Explorer.
he's
It's a
showing an
Pulse
image here of what the message says from the exploiter. Have you guys seen this message already?
No.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw it on
first
Twitter a
message.
couple
It's funny when people say, which is classic Richard Hart tweeting as well. The first how it starts.
So Sami, should I read this or should you explain it? How do you want to go about it?
I haven't read this.
I'll be honest. I know you're gonna get upset. I haven't read the whole thing. I know it just says it's funny when I say, because like, everything you've said to me, I agree. I agree with all of it. It's what you've opened my eyes, Kareem, as to how he might play it. So thank you for your wisdom, sir.
I'm trying.
And now I think it's going to be more like, you know how he's got a couple of things broken? Well, maybe 2 get fixed. And the third one, he's going to be like, no. Let's see how much the community really wants to fix it. Are they going to go message Brett, Pulse Chain Dev? Are they going to make a DAO? Are they going to go and ask for stuff?
Decentralized.
By the way, the community already has stuff like that. They made the Pulse Maker website. Everybody tracks the debt. We've all learned slowly how MakerDAO works and all these things. So, come on, bro. It's like, so he's awkward. Like, it's gonna work out. He's orchestrating something. I've realized it early in my mind. I get my position now. Everything you said, sir, we're gonna be doing. By the way, just to let you know, Kareem, you know, like 30 minutes.
Publicly, excuse me. That's what I want you to do, because again, I'm not trying to pride myself, say I know Richard a lot, but you know, for the time that we spent together and we think similarly, it's like when you say some stuff like that, it's like he's trying to drill into your brain that please acknowledge something is wrong so we can focus on the solution. And if you don't acknowledge that, then you're gonna keep seeing messages like that because he thinks like he's talking to a wall. You have to be like, all right, sir, message received. Like the guy yesterday, the Solid X guy, sir, message received. All right, we're going to redeploy over there. We're going to try to, because when he feels like people are listening, then it's like, all right, cool. He listened. Let me help him. Let me help this fix. Because clearly the exploiter is still exploiting. So if we don't acknowledge what's happening, he's going to keep sending messages like that. But like, see, it's happening.
Well, so no one's been able to, isn't it a whitelist address that's able to do this stuff? We've looked at, you got to understand as well, bro. There is the facts and what everyone presents. It changes very often. And then people get stuff wrong as well all the time. And I know how markets work, bro, that you're not going to get a certainty. So, everyone wants, hey, I want the 10 things broken. And then we all work together and buy the dip. I know how that works out, man. It doesn't.
What about the things that aren't broken that can't be fixed? For example, like let's say some things get fixed here, but it's still a MakerDAO fork. It's a MakerDAO, like it's the MakerDAO is still part of the ecosystem because that's what makes it all work. So and then DAI, let's say it could go $2 because everything was working. You're still creating a stable coin on the Pulse chain that the founders, controllers, token holders of the MakerDAO could shut down at any time. Why would you make a stablecoin that somebody else could shut down at any time?
So I have a feeling that Richard is not speaking to us through the blockchain, but speaking to us through Twitter right now. So I'm going to keep reading the additional tweets that he's putting out. Just coincidentally at this time that we happen to be having a live conversation. Right. Okay. So this is an add-on to the one that I just read. And it says, why can't they just, the exploiter, why can't they just send it to 0 instantly like most inflation bugs? Well, this bug requires you know how to use DeFi contracts that don't have front ends. Few people do. And it might require you to get an entire block of gas all to yourself to run all the transactions you need.
Good point.
Who's the real final boss? Oh, great question. Well, if you look at the liquidity, LOL, it looks like if someone can mint a Tropa out of thin air, in quotes, I don't know, in quotes, I know nothing about it, they can harvest 2 billion PDAI out of the liquidity in their PulseX pair. In parentheses again, LOL, the coin only had 6 billion total supply at the fork.
That's true.
Or well, if any of the maker guys wants to come over and edit the contracts, they could infinitely mint as well. So I wonder what the conclusion is that's supposed to be reached from all this. Like,
can we
I feel
So can we
confident.
just add, if anyone's curious at home, because I'm learning just as much as you guys. I
Good.
we got
You see,
people
we're making
because
progress. We're making progress.
yeah, it's
That's
good
what I'm
because
saying.
I want everyone to just know a troper. How did that 3 billion P die get there? Okay, why is it bonded? Maria sniffed out what Richard was doing really early, and he's like, "I believe, bro. I believe so hard. I'm getting all the supply." So then he bonded it with it. Okay, so that's
Hold
where
on,
the
pause.
Atropa
I heard a
ecosystem.
different narrative. I need you to compare. Pause, please. I heard he bought at the fork the wrong die and got screwed with the coin, and then that's why he decided to come up with the Atropa narrative. Again, I'm just telling you, I got info from multiple
No, but
places.
how does
what
it?
I
No,
heard.
he can't. It's bonded with 3 billion P die. You can look at the P die to Atropa
No,
ratio.
I'm telling you how
It
he
moves-
got the P die. He was trying to get die when he was selling some corn, you know, when you were ratio trading, and then he accidentally bought the wrong die because he thought it was, oh my God, it's so cheap, but it was the wrong contract.
No, but he got 3 billion, bro. That's not. He got 3. He got 3 billion. He got a whopper. That's
I
like
know,
you. That's like you fat fingering Ethereum, but you want to buy Bitcoin, and you're like,
Did he
oh,
get the 3
I
billion
accidentally
all
bought
at once,
120.
or did he get like a lot? Then he realized, oh my God, it's the wrong one, even though I'm getting at a discount because I'm trying to arb this.
So you haven't been
I'm
following the
just
story.
asking because I heard
No,
that
no,
narrative
Maria-
too. I want to make sure everybody's on watching this know both sides.
Maria has been talking about PEG, decentralization, Richard's vision from literally
Why
day
did he
one.
dump the
20
Atropa then? You see, because
Sorry?
I give you more credit than him because you at least a diehard. He did it right using your own word. So
No,
if
you're
he was
right.
still here fighting as hard as you, I would have been like, all right, cool, bet. But he literally exited. So it's like
I reckon he's in on it, bro. You want to know the truth? I reckon he's in on it. I looked at the charts. He was the first one to go down. It went down. It bounced exactly. It recovered the whole move. And then I look at it again, and then Richard's FUD start after that. And I go, that's convenient. They tried to send the price down. Too many people bought the dip because they go, you know what? Maria's out, but Richard's still in. And by the way, you know who said that? Mr. B Roots. He said, don't worry about Maria.
Oh,
Richard's
dude,
still
bro,
in. And then
you're-
FUD
come
wave.
on.
Why did Maria
Dude,
get out
I
though?
mean,
It's because he
no
found the
offense.
exploit, and then
You're
Richard
just
started
not the
selling
guy.
when he found out about the exploit too, right? Both those things were surrounding the exploit.
The
They
chat
were,
is
but-
like begging to bring up the latest Breedtep tweet, which again I'm
Yeah.
sure it's just
Oh,
a
right.
coincidence.
It's cool. We're getting
I
everybody
replied
should
to
feel
Brett as well, I think. Is it the one where he says
This
we
is
should all
no,
come
no, no.
together?
This is 2 minutes ago. So
They're
so
watching
there's
the
so
show.
this is just a giant coincidence. Okay.
That's totally
I
Um,
mean, you see, we need to do this often, man. Again, it's all love. We're trying to fix it.
So Breetep says, consider a thought experiment. Suppose suppose there are admin keys, but you don't have them. However, you manage to quote unquote fix the system. Now, what prevents the original admin from shutting it down? Question
Good point.
mark.
I do have that
Don't be
point
an
too.
idiot.
Ooh,
Interesting
yes.
point.
Yeah, that's a good point, Sammy. That's a
So
good
why
point.
make a
Listen,
stable coin
it's not
somebody else
fun.
could shut
Okay,
down?
for everybody you in the chat, it's not fun. That's again, we're making progress. You see, it's tough, but it's good. We're getting somewhere. Those questions needs to be asked. Okay, because I was thinking about solution. Yeah, but that's a good point. Let's say we raise the money hypothetically. Oh yeah. But then the guy with the admin key comes in and mess up the show. Now what? Wouldn't it be better to hop onto something else that doesn't have the admin key? Because we talk.
Why
about
don't
like
why
admin
don't
keys.
you just fork all this stuff over and like fix it in the fork, and then airdrop everybody who holds PDI a copy that actually works, and then we can all go back to like
Yeah.
you know, like getting along.
And-
Oh wait, we're doing that now.
And and better yet, I'll make a suggestion. If Richard's watching, if everybody listen and we fix it with fork, we can literally petition, be like, yo, Rich, dump the whole fucking thing, take all the liquidity, and then come pump the new coin, and everybody's good. It's like,
No.
all right, guys, we're moving the game over here. You know what I mean? The exploiter, no, think about it. The exploiter can't steal no more money. He has enough when he can extract the whole liquidity on the one swoop. Everybody remove their liquidity, and then we go play on a new game that doesn't have a bug. Again, it's a suggestion. Because
Can we just
again, Richard
awesome,
changes
Brett.
worldview if people listen. If people don't listen, you want to fight the G, then he's gonna be like, you're on your own. I'm just
You guys
telling
have done beautiful points. I want you guys to know as well. So PDI people coming in, they're first cyclers, okay? They're from stock market, real estate. They got no idea how crypto works. So you've been through a cycle. You obviously made an impression on those people coming in. They're like, oh, the crypto guys got rich. And now you're showing them hey man, we still got to work for the bag, you know. Like Richard didn't have to sell the top of Ethereum and pump us up. He was obviously very happy with all the streamers, the tattoos, the Hex conferences. He was happy with the work people had done. That was the reward. So what Kareem's doing, bro, I hope you're long, Kareem, by the way. Kareem's actually showing the PDI community, hey, this ain't a one-way street. All right. Yeah. This isn't God coming down and like, you know, giving you money. There's a path here. You got to follow the path. Maybe listen to people on the other side because there's in either side. But you got to remember as well. So because like I don't fight anybody who says anything on the other side, Kareem. I'm just like, oh, I know this is a movie, bro. This is a movie, goes for 3.5 hours. We're in the intro section. They haven't even started playing the movie. I'm like, okay, it's a movie going on.
I'll read the next one. So we don't get too far behind in the conversation that's just spontaneously happening at multiple places coincidentally. So Richard says, why can't it be fixed? Because the emergency shutdown function doesn't even do what people think it does, LOL. And there's not enough PMaker for sale on the chain to even try and hit the apparently 150K PMaker to trigger it. And even if you did trigger it, it doesn't do what you think it does. Now we'll go to the next one.
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh man, shout out to you, Rich. He's definitely watching the show. I mean, the 150, that's the number Abdul said earlier, because it's different from the other 46K event. That's what we needed. So
right. Perfect. So then Richard says, why can't anyone else send the coin easily to zero? Well, the exploiters inflated the supply so much and sold so much that like no matter how much PDI you had at the fork, you can't really sell that much percentage wise compared to how much is already available for sale in the AMMs already sold by all the exploiters. Yes. So the only people that can really nuke the price super hard are those that exploited already.
All right, pause here, Matty. For the viewer watching, let me break this down. It's very important. It goes back to what I was saying earlier about bounding liquidity, right? The price goes down, that's cool. But in real DeFi, the lower the price goes down, the more coin you need to push the price down. So in other words, what he's saying here is that because we have bounding liquidity, PDI looks high in price, but in reality, it's because it's bounded to Pulse, Pulse6, Pulse and all the stuff. And in terms of ratio and coins, unless you have hundreds and hundreds of millions of PDI lying around, you're not really going to affect the price. And those who had, keyword had, already sold, therefore they are zero. So something, no offense, it's not fun. So the price not going further down doesn't mean people are buying. It just means people who sold already emptied the clip. And because they already emptied the clip, they can't sell more. The only person that can, wink, wink, or exploiter, or if Rich decide to go full nuke mode. But obviously, we're trying to avoid that. But the bigger problem, back to the first part of the tweet, was hypothetically, we get the 150K, the money pulled together. He's saying there's not enough PMaker on the market to buy.
This seems awfully familiar, this part that's on the screen here, like some game theory we talked about several years ago, where we argued that like the OA could push up the price of everything, like you know, basically by having higher liquidity when price is low, then decrease the liquidity, then pump it up, and then make greater liquidity there. And then, you know, the price kind of gets trapped in a higher range. It sounds like that.
Hex to zero. They couldn't do it. It's exactly because of that.
Yeah.
Because you got to have Hex to sell. You don't have Hex to sell.
I mean, this is also, it seems like I would also relate it to like some of the narratives that people have said about how PDI could get collateralized by the origin address or whatever, or how you could create a parity between eHex and pHex. Like, these are all the same concepts that are being applied in my mind as what's being exemplified here. So that's kind of interesting. And then the next part that we have to catch up on before we go on with our commentary, how little you guys know about PMaker, LOL. Lots of LOLs in these. Okay,
come on, guys. He's listening right now.
Tell me it's good. It's good. Just breathe.
He's listening.
How do you know that?
Now.
How do you know that?
We're here together. It's good.
He's listening right now. And hey, Maker's pretty cool. I've gone over it 15 times, man. I keep forgetting. There's a joy and a sin and a floppy Willy auction. It's actually a beautiful protocol. But actually,
Man,
what
I
pissed
don't
me
be
off
on the street with
after I
Sonny.
learned more about Maker, I'm like, bro, you're one of the worst prices in the freaking crypto industry for the best creation I've like seen in a long time. What a disappointment that MakerDAO's token is absolutely dog poop. I think it's beautiful. Not Richard. Someone out there is breathing life into this to do it with a twist. Actually, it reminds me of Bitcoin, by the way. Richard with the Hex, he like tweaks Bitcoin and stuff out here and enhances it. We might be seeing it in real time. Look, man,
Well,
I see a lot of info, and this is beautiful. We've gone through a lot, friends. Because people want to know, how do you look at this stuff like that? Where's the answer? I'm like, man, there's too much energy. There's too many people. There's too many believers. The community wants it to work. We all believe. We're going to find an answer. We'll make an answer.
This is why I'm here, Sonny, because I know what you're, and I said that earlier. When people hit the belief structure, when they hit that sign mode, there's no matter what you said to them, it's not going to work. Why? Because I'm that guy. Like, you don't have to even explain. I already know how you feel and what's going on. Why I'm here, it's my superpower, is I'm able to synthesize all this information, keep it in simple terms, be like, how to help this guy win. Because if
sometimes, boys, the code is just the code.
So, in summary,
Ooh.
please, very
Ooh.
important. Tommy, please hear this. Rich is giving valuable content
Quote.
here. The reason why he said there's not enough P-Maker available to purchase, I'm reading between the line, potentially, that's a humble speculation. That
they can mint more, right?
If we have enough P-Dye to buy the thing to do what we need to do, we can't do the thing because there's not enough P-Maker available. Do you understand? So either...
It mints, sir. It mints. Do you know that? When the floppy Willy auctions start, to cover the debt, there's like a $900 million P-Dye debt. To make up the debt, the P-Maker tokens get minted. And then to bid for the auction, you use P-Dye for that. So P-Maker, I guess, is kind of just showing, oh my gosh, we need P-Maker. I wonder where that comes from. And then like I've learned.
Okay, good. Let's stay on topic. You're right. Now, how do we get to the fucking auction? If the guy creates the auction, we can't participate. Hypothetically, if Rich say, hey, I'm gonna get into the auction, right? Use the P-Dye, whatever, mint the P-Maker, like you said, right? Because I got billions of it. Hypothetically, the guy creates the auction. I can't get into the fucking auction. How am I supposed to get in there and deploy my capital to buy the P-Maker?
Good
Even
question.
If you could get in the auction,
It's me. You're
rates
talking to
are
me.
off.
I got you,
It
but we
wouldn't
gotta
make
make it make sense.
Right.
You can't just talk around.
Maybe he
and be
wants.
like, this is the real question. That's what he said. Forget the fluff. He's not against you. He's just bringing you facts, saying like, we can't buy it.
Maybe that's what he
How
wants.
do you
to.
fix it? How do you fix it then?
How do we
Extra $10.
Is
Maddie,
is
can we
that the
take a look at
question?
the overview of the emergency shutdown? That was the part that Richard said we didn't understand.
Ooh,
Okay.
yeah, good point. Thank you, Abdul, because I want to learn that because I don't know either.
So there's 2 pages that cover that here. The last slide of the 4, and then an earlier slide. So this is just kind of an overview that says, I mean, these are extremely detailed, like, books that tell you how this stuff works if your brain can handle all that interrelated stuff all at the same time. But here's the slide that says the overview of the shutdown process. There's like maybe 8 points here. The process of initiating emergency shutdown is decentralized and controlled by Maker voters who can trigger it by deposit.
Make an emergency. Yes.
Right. And there's not enough to do that, I think, was the suggestion. Emergency shutdown is triggered in the case of serious emergencies, such as long-term market irrationality, hacks, or security breaches. Emergency shutdown stops and gracefully settles the Maker protocol while ensuring that all users, both DAI holders and Vault users, receive the net value of assets they're entitled to. Vault owners can retrieve excess collateral from their vaults immediately after an initialization of emergency shutdown. They can do this via Vault front ends such as Oasis Borrow that have emergency shutdown support implemented, as well as via command line tools.
Yes.
DAI
Somebody
holders,
real quick, sorry, to stop here so people can digest. So the key goal here is to create the emergency shutdown. Earlier, I even watched a tweet explaining for somebody that broke it down with Grok. The only way we can get to the shutdown is literally if we don't have admin keys, because technically we don't, is by, again, the decentralized way with the voters. The problem is we need to get to the 150K makers because that's how they deposit the maker, the P-Maker, to then create the emergency shutdown. And what Richard is saying is that we don't have 150K potentially to buy right now. Now, that's the first hurdle. The second thing is, because I'm trying to be solution oriented.
Okay,
Let's say
Kareem, you're doing an excellent job. Multiple people have pointed out that you're breaking this down so that everybody can understand it. I want to hit Richard's latest tweets so we don't fall 20 minutes behind in the conversation. We have to respect everybody's time, even though we're not speaking through the blockchain per se, but we have to validate some of these transactions here before they drop off in the validator. So here he says, if you buy PDAI, you're basically just enriching the guys that know how to manipulate this system with no front ends, or the PMaker holders. I bet there will be more and more and more of those extractors as they see the easy and free money. They can mint for basically free what you have to pay money to get. So like LOL. Now next, so that was 9 minutes ago. Next tweet, 7 minutes ago. Read the documents if you wish. And this is the MakerDAO.com document that describes the DAI and collateral redemption during emergency shutdown.
That's what you show.
Richard says, "Why do I break the links?" ? Because apparently X penalizes you for including the links. Hey, that's really smart. Cool. Thanks for the tip, Richard. Now for the TLDR, which we've all been waiting for, peanut brains like myself. PDAI had 6 billion supply at fork. Now it has 24 billion.
Yes.
You didn't get that inflation. Exploiters did. Why do you think they'll stop exploiting now? LOL. Why would you buy this trash? There's better trash. LOL. Why play Russian roulette versus all the hackers and PMaker holders?
Good point.
Influencers, just make your own coin called PDAI if you want, and shill that, and you won't have to share with exploiters.
Yes. Hey, and then he might dump the rest and take the liquidity and bring it back to the
Pump that tires.
Okay,
Let's go.
couple things here.
I would like to point out that I already did that with PDAI.
He died, Matty. That was funny. That was
Neither one.
witty, but that was funny what you did with that died part, like DIED. Come on now. Anyway,
The stuff Richard's saying that seems fairly definitive to me that he is very, very against this. That's how I interpret it.
Yes.
Oh, wait.
Can I just say something, Maddie?
Go ahead.
Can I just
go ahead.
quickly say something?
Yeah.
Did you guys hear what I've been talking about to help the PDAI guys who are uncertain? Do you know what I was saying for the past literally 36 hours? I said, this is funny. Look, I made a tweet like 2 hours ago. I said, actually, you can get it up right now. Richard Hart didn't lie. He said it's broken now, but he didn't say it can never get fixed. He never said that.
He also didn't say that he has a pony, and we shouldn't assume he does have a pony, right?
I know.
Sometimes we draw pony pictures, and that's what makes the blockchain not a security. But so I really think that one lesson to be learned is like, how can things be better than they are now? And that's in part what the question is being asked, is like, how can we fix this? So
takeaways, Maddie, please.
So like I'll put a challenge out there for people, and I'll say we have lots of versions of DAI now, and we have lots of believers. For me, I saw, we had PDAI that's being exploited. We have pump tires DAI that is like something like 80% of the supply is in the wild, and then PDAI has 80% of the supply locked in time pays me. Now, if that were to lock for 55 years, that would represent a lower inflation than anything, pretty much. So the point is not to buy or not buy that. The point is, I think we should be competing to make better products, and the best, the best product should win. If you already have a community of believers, the way to solve this is to take those believers and airdrop them something, or to develop a better, to fix it however you see fit. And if there's a community that's working together to fix PDAI or pump DAI, or somebody launches a new one tonight and that one does really well, like whatever it is, I haven't benefited. I don't have any PDAI coins. So like I would challenge other people to do the same to like compete to make the best product.
Yeah. All right, my turn, please. Maddie, little parenthesis. That would have been a great, but you called the thing P died. So that kind of up to a rough start. If you tell somebody the thing died already, they might probably.
Hey, somebody could do better. That's what I'm saying. Somebody could do better.
Good. So the 4 takes away. Sammy, I'm primarily talking to you. Please listen, because again, you have more input and influence in that DIE community. And I'm literally hoping that you listen because you can speak sense to those people too. So number one, from the whole thing that Richard said, because we're genuinely trying to find a solution, right? He said, again, we need 150 million. That thing is not up for sale. So we can't get that. And then we don't have any connects with the P maker, aka maker people, Wells, whatever, because like you said, all that extra inflation, we didn't get that. So those people are not trying to help us out. If they were, they would have talked already. If anything, like he also said, they're probably actively trying to figure out what to do, how to do what the exploder is doing, so they can do it themselves because they have enough makers. So that's the reality I want you to acknowledge. Again, I'm not being mean. I just want you to understand what's being said, because that would have helped us to save it, but we can't buy it, right? Because we don't have enough. The second level is the people that have enough, they ain't interested into helping us, so to speak. Let's say we're on the same boat, right? They're too busy trying to hustle to then probably dump the thing too. Number three, we already acknowledged that the price is already as low as it gets. It can't get lower because, again, just bonding liquidity and number of coin. And as soon as somebody mints more, the minter, he's just going to use everybody as exit liquidity. And then number four, we don't have, again, the admin keys. Not saying that it's even needed, because even if you have the admin keys, the way the decentralized protocol is set is that whoever has the 150K or whoever can create the auction and be the sole participant of the auction, you can have gazillion P-DAI or maker. If you can't participate in the auction, you're not in on the grift, and they will be the one always grifted, which then tells me, I'm sorry to say this, but it's to get that 1 and 2 fix that we're talking about based on the new data that just got given to us, which again, I'm an honest man. I didn't know this information. It literally, Maddie, shout out to you. This thing just came out less than 30 minutes ago. Now we have to acknowledge and process the new information is being said. He also said, to conclude, he don't care. DIE, come play on Pulse Chain. But let's not get something that has this issue, because of the bonding liquidity, those people can still steal $2,000 per every million DIE. And trust me, they will keep doing that, which will affect Pulse Chain and affects all the other things, because bonding liquidity is great when new money comes in, even though it doesn't buy our favorite coin, it pumps everybody. But it also means that if something on the chain is exploitable, the other stuff that has nothing to do with it will get hit by it too. So you need to understand that responsibility. So I'm begging you to really pay attention to what's being said here and really understand that. And
we've got an angry RH tweet.
Okay,
so that sounds spicy. but we're behind in our RH tweets by like I don't know, by like 6 or 8 minutes.
Go, Maddie, go.
So he says previously, also what's funny to me is like a bunch of guys without admin keys trying to fix something that requires admin keys. In this case, PMaker DAO tokens are such a thing, is hilarious. Pro tip: non-admins can't pretend or dream themselves into admin powers. The MakerDAO guys are the boss of this shit they invented, not you. And you must suck their D and make them care, LOL, to enrich you instead of themselves. Good luck with that, LOL. All right, now let's get to the angry one.
Perfect.
Angry.
Hold on. Let's see.
Why can't? Oh, no.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, we're in tweet storm territory, and I can already imagine Sami updating the green candle of how many times RH has tweeted about PDAI.
That's 40, bro.
Right. Okay. So,
Topic,
all right, here we go. Richard says, if I spent all day describing why most things in crypto suck, I would not have any time left.
There you go.
There's so very much suck everywhere. I only mention this tiny suck with only 400K of liquidity because I hate to see people get ripped off by exploiters. And I heard that exploiters made over 4 million on this, and that makes me angry. I prefer honest people not give their money to the dishonest. In the end, this is a small coin and doesn't really matter, but I care about justice.
Amen. I literally said that like what 30 minutes ago about how like it's only 400K. Richard don't care. People say, "Oh, where's Richard?" Like, guys, he got so many other things he had to do. There's so many other coins.
Right.
That's important.
Mhm.
So
Right.
Yeah.
my final solution is only the light at the end of
Is
the
there
tunnel.
more, Maddie?
Yep, there's more. So
Okay.
but wait,
Oh, wait.
there's more.
Oh, wait, there's more.
But wait.
Go ahead.
Also, if
I'm
someone
sorry.
got enough Maker, they could just raise the debt limits and make inflating the PDAI even easier. Why would someone with PMaker not do that and authorize inflation based on depositing a token only they have and that they made up, not just use that new vault to infinite inflate and drain for themselves?
By the way, shout out to Alex. That's exactly what
Another
he said in his
tweet.
tweet. You get to manipulate, play their own game, and then force the liquidation that you will benefit from. That's exactly what he was talking about, Alex from Hedron. Because it's a game that you're the only one playing, which is nuts. Maddie, is there more? Or are we, did we get it all?
Oh wait, hold on. There's a subtweet here. A subtweet to the part that said the angry one, like if I spent all my day describing why most things in crypto suck. Okay.
Also, if we got enough
Now, why do I have to explain these really easy to understand threat mechanisms that you'd understand if you read the MakerDAO forums and read about them debating back and forth about changing this and that debt limit all the time? Because you're all noobs
We are.
and will buy
We are.
anything without any research or understanding at all.
shots fired.
Mic drop.
Hex to $1, man.
Wow. Okay. Here's the silver lining. Somni, stay with me. I'm proud of you, brother. You're taking the heat pretty good. But stay with me. We're making progress.
That's not heat. What's that? That's not heat. You guys took the risk with Hex. You have never seen that before. You don't know how the game theory works.
We've seen all of it. But listen,
Bitcoin, Ethereum, bro. There was maximum risk with all of them. Maximum
that's-
risk with Doge. It's literally, bro. We're swimming in uncertainty. The highest things out here. It's literally
That's
done. Richard Hart took the most risk of all. He put 20 grand into a thing called Bitcoin. The founder literally walked away and rugged it. But we've been through this before. So I
This
feel
is not
like
Bitcoin. Bitcoin's not a stable coin, and it
I know.
doesn't
It's
have-
not Bitcoin. This is
It doesn't currently
this is
have an
te-
exploit, and this does.
That's
Yes.
right. It's not Bitcoin. It's something new. So it's first like a
I
unicorn.
get the analogy.
It's
I
not
get the
new.
analogy in
It's
the belief.
copied
But
broken
remember,
code.
I get the analogy and the belief, and I'm proud of you for that. I told you, and I'm gonna tell you again. I give you credit for that. But again, we can't ignore the fact that's presented in front of us. My solution to you, and I hope you listen. And by the way, great time because we know Rich is watching, and the dev too. I know it's hard, but with that much evidence, my suggestion: you do whatever you want. My suggestion to you is again like one of the tweets that he said, because I can process Richard's tweet on the totality. It's like a father talking to his kid, and sometimes daddy gets mad. He spanks you a little bit, but he still loves you. Don't be mad. Just understand he's trying to teach you something. But if you don't listen, then he's gonna get angrier. But once you listen and you understand he wants your best interest at heart, then you will understand that when you start listening, he might actually support you. Which is, I'm just saying this. There's too much evidence that say that this thing can't be saved. And I'm not fighting. I'm just saying there's too much. The next best thing is the community is great. The people are great. I know that because I know how great the Hex community is. We should work on a migration. And then you, as the ringleader, believe it or not, you are. I'm not saying you want it to be, but you are. I'm telling you, you get to quote unquote pick, hey, we migrated here. And then we as Hexagon, because we love Pulse Chain, we love you guys around, want PDAI to come, we can make a petition. And literally, I would dare to say, wait, let's try to get Owe and Rich to just
Well,
nuke the whole thing and take the liquidity and then push it
Yeah.
to the new one that doesn't have a foot.
I think an example would be like, what if GME, like, what if the company actually like lost all their employees and like lost all their real estate space, and like, how would you salvage that? You know, you would salvage it in a creative way, not by like, you know, continuing to buy a ticker that no longer exists or something.
So that way, nobody really lose in a sense where the community stay, the PDAI narrative stay. We fork the thing over to the thing that doesn't have the bug, that doesn't get infinitely dumped on. So we can literally, and by the way, Richard or whoever will gladly send that thing to zero so the exploiters stop exploiting. grab whatever's left in the liquidity, and then pump the new thing, and then say, "Hey, P
Yeah.
guys, here's your liquidity. Go play."
I
over
don't
there."
think the
That's whole thing
choices
for
are
me.
give up or continue the current path. I think that
Exactly.
the additional choice is airdrop everybody who holds now and then move forward just as you have. I think that's a choice.
Come back to us.
The
Yeah,
only
I
reason
love
this
you.
guy
I love
is
you. Look,
distracting is because people
Yes.
keep buying. If
I love
people
yous.
stop buying, it would be over.
I love you a lot. I think it's very apparent. You guys are final working product believers, and I am too. I just see something different here. That's pretty much what it comes down to. This isn't
Different
final
from this
working
really smart
product
guy
stuff.
who's been tweeting at the
Respect.
same time
I
as
can
us
respect
as well.
that.
I can
This is,
respect
and
that.
that's okay, bro. There's different risk thresholds with that, right? It's more volatile. We've never seen that. Richard's never done that before. So yeah, honestly, with all due respect, you guys, I don't know if you're reading me wrong. I'm not even sweating reading that. I'm just imagining in my head. I'm like, bro, don't make me count how many tweets you've done now, Richie. That's like
I knew it.
45 tweets about like.
I knew
I
it.
wonder if we're gonna hear from the community. There's 30,000 things wrong, but maybe there's one way out there to do something. I don't know. Maybe it'll come fixing it
How
out
do we
here.
get
But
the
yeah, I think
first
also the
one, though?
PDI community
I
can
tried.
learn off Mr. Kareem as well. Bro, I love you.
tried, brother.
You
I
work
love
for
you.
your bags, bro. Hey, guys, PDI
Respect.
community, you want a lesson on life, okay? Immigrant coming from another country, literally working his ass off, bro. Do you see his hex stakes as well? Is literally still working, okay? He hustles down
Building houses
to
too.
the bone,
If you watch me,
hustles
I'm
down to the bone, okay? So yeah,
the dip.
you got to remember, guys, as well. Okay, like, by the way, we're all blessed. Okay, Richard could have retired 2 decades ago. Okay, so
No,
even if
he's
this is a
out
little
here.
game,
Listen to this. Oh,
yeah,
man,
if,
shout out to
if
Rick.
even if this is a game and I'm right, we're lucky it's a game. You know what I mean? Because you know what the alternative is, bro? The alternative is the stuff we're trying to stop. It's bankless. It's VCs. They get the coins. You know how Richard's saying there's inflation here and the exploiters. I don't know who has the coins. Yeah, bro. I don't know. There might be a good ending.
Richard just suggests forking the contract with the airdrop. Man, I'm telling you. Hey, bro, Rich is my dog. I'm telling you, that's the
We
best.
got a
of
new
all.
tweet from RH.
Like you said, Sammy, I'm gonna quote you. Like you said, it's not extreme, it's not black and white, it's 50 shades of gray. I'm not telling you to quit. I'm saying you have something special here. That community is special. Welcome to
Well,
Pulse Chain. We love you.
I just
Well,
don't know what the odds are that we'd be having this conversation and
Bro,
RH would be tweeting at the same time. I just don't.
I know.
You know
Hey,
what?
it's the same
Simulation
odds.
confirmed, right?
Tell me,
Hey.
I'll make an oath right now. If you
Hey.
fork the thing and you bring the people, I, Kareem, will buy PDOT.
What?
I bet you.
Oh my God. Final boss,
The love
Kareem.
is real because you.
Hey,
have
hey, 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 hey.
faith. You have
The
faith.
thing, like,
I will
I know
buy it.
everyone. I know. Let's just look at something. Okay,
Every
so
week,
we've.
I will buy it.
Hey, I love you all. We've gone from it can't be fixed to there is a solution. You can kind of fork it.
That's the
That to
solution.
me, I'm just saying that to me is the slightest sea change, but it is a sea change. Because I'm just saying, I'm just
Yeah,
sitting. Everyone's like,
contract change.
nothing
For
can be
sure.
happen.
Wouldn't help you
Nothing.
for
It's
sure.
dead completely. It's kind of like,
For
wait,
sure.
Richard's providing a solution.
Well,
We've been here before, guys. This is
we're talking in the chat. We're literally talking.
This
But
has
the
been a really
solution is to
respectful
make something new
discussion.
that's not
Yeah.
this, right? If I'm
Um,
reading this correctly.
Yeah. Can I also
So-
say, guys,
oh, yeah.
I know you guys put me as the PDI guy. I love you guys. I know, but look, I know guys, they're just first cycle hexagons like you guys. Okay. So, you know, first cycle
Hell yeah.
hexagons, when someone came in and said Richard's fat and he's going to rug yous and you guys wanted to like hang their heads at the stake. Okay. Well, in PDI world, bro, when you say it ain't going to peg, it's literally like you're killing the warlord, bro. You're literally doing that to
Yes.
them. Okay.
I know the feeling.
That's
why
right,
I
with
know you're
me-
going that route. I
With
love
me,
them. We want them
Bro,
here.
we've seen 1,000 things. It's crypto, bro. 1,000 things go up and down. Vitalik's got a girlfriend, Black Swan. So I'm just like, hey, man, I don't know if it happens. I'm just saying, like, it's cheap enough where that even solutions can happen. I like it, you know. So,
Trust me,
but
Sonny, if
that
you work
upsets
with
them.
us-
It's almost like if we go back to 2020 and people said, I don't believe in Richard. I don't believe in staking. There's a community here. I'm going to use you for
That's
exit
my line
liquidity.
right there.
It's like that. It's that mercenary stuff that does exist. But yeah, I love and appreciate everyone. Hope everyone at home is learning as well.
I appreciate that comparison, and I totally agree that the level of belief here is, to the extreme that we saw with Hex and PDI. And so I think everybody who's been fighting, if there are people who've been fighting, I have no idea if anybody's been fighting in our community ever, but I think we have a lot more in common than we realize, and I think we're all trying to fight the same fiat demons that really deserve the fight, and fighting with each other really isn't the way. Here's a tweet from Richard that says, "Okay, and finally, if for some reason sunk cost fallacy, a psychology term, or whatever, you just have to make this token made by people that do not care about you at all work, airdrop all the non-exploiters their percent with a new ERC20 that's not hacked."
Yes.
That's a cool idea.
Bro, he just gave you the blueprint.
Didn't you just say something like that, Matty? You said
No.
something very similar to that.
Nah, Maddie said get a new coin and stuff from zero. This is good. The percentage is the key, because what that means for everybody watching, that means if you already own PDA, you don't lose your positioning, because yes, it does suck. New coin, then you gotta go buy it with new money, and the liquidity is low. Now, the percentage is cool. It basically says you stay in the same position that you are, and then ideally you get a new coin that doesn't have those problems, and then the game restart where it's at. It's fucking good. It's where everybody gets to, find the middle ground, the 50 shades of gray. It's not extremism. We're not about that. We need to stay away from that. It's about finding the middle ground. Look how good this stream has been for the last 2 hours. We found actual solution, which was my goal. Not to come in and call people name and this, that. What the fuck does that do? Because the thing that pisses me the fuck off, yes, I curse, is what Richards also said. The exploiters probably out there laughing at us. Ha, look at all those diehard, and I'm still them.
Right.
Do you know how rare that is to be diehard? Do you know how many fucking ghost chains out there exist? Nobody's there. Nobody cares. We got people that care. I know people like myself, bro, they're working their ass off, yo, let me go buy this coin. Yeah, it's going down. Who cares? We're going to be here 15 years because my community, my people, we're here. And PDI somehow, I'll give that credit, got that Hexican vibe. That's yo, I can give that respect because it's not something you tell me. It's something I have to see.
I don't know if you guys remember, but Hex actually ran into an existential crisis in 2021. Where we came to a fork in the road, so to speak. And I still deeply believe that we will come out stronger than ever, even though the price doesn't reflect that yet. I deeply believe in Pulse Chain, and deeply believe in Hex, and deeply believe in the people who represent this community that you can't find anywhere else in crypto. So I'm really proud of everybody on the screen, everybody in the community, and everybody who's holding and believing.
Amen. So one more thing I think it's important. Now that we have this great idea, and Abdul, I'm going to go to you because you're probably the super dev on this panel right here, but how do we go about making this happen? You see, again, action. What Richard just said with the percentage or whatever, because again, is it easy to do? Is it hard to do? Is it, I think that's,
realistically, what Richard's likely talking about is not forking MakerDAO and recreating that system. There's multiple layered contracts. It'd be heavy work. It would cost a lot of money. And even if you did the code correctly, you'd likely need a lot of money to make it work. He's probably talking about meme coin versions, which is mostly the place that, PDI has in my mind anyway. And
that's fine. There's enough supply, 24 billion. We don't need more. I think that.
As far as launching meme coins, Pump.tires works great, burns Pulse. I would suspect that's what he's getting at. There's not very many people capable of playing off a MakerDAO fork, in my opinion.
Yeah, but the problem with the Pump.tire one. Go ahead.
I was reading the FUD storm. I was like, oh, trying to shake me out, are ya? And the last tweet, he ends with the solution. He ends with a solution. So we went from it's broken, it can never get fixed.
Right.
And then we finished off with, by the way, there's actually a solution, you retardio.
It's not a solution that helps PDI, not the one that is the contract that you hold. Just to be clear on that.
No, yeah, but you airdrop and remove. If he's saying everyone keeps their supply, get rid of the exploiters. There you go. I didn't get the infinite inflation at the start. Did you? I mean, if you did, you're going to lose.
Well, I think we all did.
Exactly. So no, that's a good point. And then to Abdul's point, again, it will cost way less money. You get like a real airdrop. You get everybody's position based on where they are now. You fork the thing without the exploiter. I think we don't need all the extra crazy mechanism. It becomes a meme coin. There's enough supply. I mean, that shit went from 6 billion to 24.
I think it's really important to like throw out there the game theory that like if we don't take the snapshot before RH put out this idea, or whoever put out the idea, we're a decentralized community. Nobody can keep track of what's what. But this idea.
It should be before.
Because otherwise people could be buying PDI right now, giving more money to the exploiter in order to be a part of the airdrop.
So see that live on the stream right now.
It's
for the people before that.
Yeah.
Buying PDI now, you ain't gonna get it.
Right. So that's kind of cool because if you bought PDI when it was max terror, wow, you might have just really come out ahead. Because there might be a buildup in buy pressure between now and whenever those airdrops start to go out. There might be many airdrops to PDI holders, but I would only get behind ones that are not like paying out the exploiter now.
Yeah, like an airdrop from a month ago or more, like 30 days.
No. Just 1 minute before RH tweeted.
Okay, well that makes sense, right?
Yeah. Because you want to reward the people who bought into the FUD. But now that we have a solution that people seem willing to explore, how cool is that we can like stop paying the exploiter at this moment? Why not?
That's the most important thing, because if not, people are gonna FOMO buy and then the exploiter is gonna dump on their head. It has to be before. And more importantly, it's like they get their percentages, and then I'll be the first one to say right here, if Rich is watching, when that gets done, because again, talk is cheap. We need somebody to actually do it. I'll even be the first one to suggest, Rich, just nuke the fucking thing, take the liquidity, and then pump it on the new coin to help the people that's over there. That's it.
To be clear, there's zero mention of RH doing an airdrop himself of anything.
Yes.
We're suggesting
community
that if a community member wants to launch a meme coin that has something to do with this, they could airdrop a group a minute before RH said that.
I would strongly recommend that it not be a pump tires token because of the unfair distribution of that. I would say that the most likely candidate for like what the community would recognize, right? Anybody can send anything to all the PDI holders from 20 minutes ago or whatever the actual timestamp is. But the idea would be that instead of launching it on a bonding curve, you would launch the exact supply that people have agreed. You would want like multiple audits of what the hacker wallet addresses are and not, right? And then if you get some sort of consensus there, maybe by next week on the show, or when Sami does something, or whoever wants to compile that information or report on it, and then the exact supply. And maybe that gets you back to 6 billion supply instead of 20 something. And then
the original DAI supply,
and then you're giving that away without zero going to the person who clicks create the button. And by the way, that person might get like end up like the P maker guy. So like whoever does that is a hero. Whoever clicks that button, maybe they do it anonymously, and we can prove on chain that that they didn't keep any for themselves, and there's no handouts. It's just like it's just a fair distribution.
Yeah. So keep the same people, same percentage. Remove all the exploiters, because there could be more than one, Maddie. So, and I think there was a list of wallets. So if we catch all of those, and I think even Rich had a post that somebody was showing the list of those exploit wallets. Because when I was on the space, I mean, it wasn't me. My friend was on the space. I was just listening with him. But it's like they made a list all the way to literally the day of the fork. Because when the fork started in 2023, somebody doing some PDI minting even then. So catch those wallets too, get those out because they're minting free, whatever, and then distribute the rest. Again, I'm not trying to say it's easy to do, but if that can get done, bro, this thing is back on. And
I need to get a word of caution out here. There's a big problem. Cream, this is important. like because we had this conversation and we were talking back and forth with RH, there's anything that comes out in the next day, there's no reason to believe that RH launched it or anything like that. No matter what it says, there's a huge opportunity here for exploiters and scammers to send you something malicious, or to like to create something like, you know, in the next 10 minutes, in the next 24 hours that they try to attribute to RH in some way. I would recommend being very careful with this kind of thing in terms of like airdrops could be malicious. New contracts could be malicious. Like even if it's just a meme coin, ERC20 with like no code, like the founder could still rug it, right? So if stuff like this is coming out, make sure you know where it's coming from. Like known founders, known contracts, verify, right? Don't trust, just verify. People with faces are best. That, you know, make sure there's not a scam. If you have to go to a website to claim something, that's bad. Okay, avoid that. If something just shows up in your wallet and you can sell it, maybe it's okay, but verify first. Watch the contracts. If you don't understand, reach out to somebody who does. Admins, me, Maddie, Somi, nobody's gonna DM you to tell you about the new secret. Okay, like
don't
And
go
there's
to a
no
strange
girls in
website.
crypto. There's no girls. Okay, there's no. Trust me, there's no girls. All right.
Watch out for the random girls.
hot age girls DMing you about this.
Oh.
It's not real.
Telegram, especially. Watch out. Yeah.
There's the word of caution.
Well, I didn't think that this stream would be making me more bullish on P-Dye. I thought you guys were going to be more bearish, to be honest.
You're welcome.
Because as we all get
As it is, right? Let it be. Hey,
As the-
Send me
as the
1/8 at
legacy-
the end of the cycle.
as the
don't say we
legacy,
didn't do
yeah,
anything for you.
but this
What
rate,
if-
it's going to be like
here's a
$6
crazy
by the
idea,
end of this
guys.
cycle. So, you know.
Interesting idea. What if there was something where you had to send in your PI to claim the new token? Would that be good or would that
Man,
be
he's-
bad?
Bro, that'd be crazy. You fix this something, I'll go ride or die with you. I'll pick up.
I love you guys. I feel like he's riding highest of stakes round 2. I feel like the
Yeah.
community gets together, the
That's
OG
it.
hexagons come and show the new blood.
You see?
Show the
Those
new
are
blood.
stories
Hey, you got to work for your bags, guys. You got to work. And then someone out here who's not involved tweets, maybe there's a solution out there. And now everyone's, by the way, my Telegram's already going nuts. Oh, so there is a solution. People, because people are new, man. They really don't know how crypto works. They're just like, wow, but I heard it was broken. You know, because they're new. They don't know. They think like, it's funny. It's happening like in real time. I'm seeing people's comments. And now everyone's excited about what's the solution? What's the solution? Let's go talk and leaders and founders and do all these. That's a
See,
doubt.
that's great
It's a proper thing.
energy. It shows
Yeah.
that, and this is what we do this for. Like we genuinely want to help those people, and somebody, that's big responsibility for you. But here's your silver lining. Here's karma, whatever you want to call it. Like you got to take it and run it, and really, again, solution. Got to find a group of dev or a dev that's able to do this. B, you got to watch it like a hawk
Well,
to make sure people get the right.
You don't have to
function.
pay a dev. You just have to have a consensus on the list of addresses. And then anybody, and somebody should do it in private because, as I alluded to before, the creator of DAI, right? The creator of DAI died mysteriously, was murdered. Okay. And so whoever clicks the button to create the token should probably, do it privately. And then people can check the blockchain to make sure that that it was done correctly. But that's the clicking the button is the easy part, other than the fact that the government might end you. And the hard part is getting a list of wallets that doesn't have the exploiter on it. Now, if you get even close to that, you're in great shape. Even if it's 8 billion or 6 billion or whatever, but it would really suck to leave anybody out. But that'll be where the argument will be, is like, well, here are some wallets and we don't know if it's the exploiter or not. But the fact that that this caught us by surprise and we're kind of announcing like a roadmap of how people might do this is cool, because I think that stops the exploiter from having a way to work around what we just proposed.
And Maddie, like you said, if it's an airdrop, the cool part is people don't have to do anything. And like Abdul say, you don't have to go click nothing. It's just, you got the wallet, boom, you're on the list, boom, whatever you had, boom, you get it. Just kind of like how we got our Pulse chain. It wasn't like we had to go click somewhere. It was already in the wallet. So I think that's the best approach. And then finding, again, the block about a minute before when Richard did a tweet. So whatever wallet manipulation could be happening right now, it don't matter because we can just backdate it to that 1 minute and then remove the exploiters, of course.
What should it be called?
Ooh, well, yeah, we can't. Hey, how about this?
People got to agree on a name.
Because it's the meme. I got a suggestion. Because we can't just call it P-Dye because then it's going to get confusing with the other one.
Maybe you could.
It's a joke. And then you can call it P-Dye to $1. So it says the mission statement. Guys, I should do sales. The mission statement. That's the goal. Because it's a meme now.
I have a feeling there's going to be more than one of these.
Right. But I think the best value proposition is to like build consensus and like, yeah, of course there's going to be multiple ones, but whoever provides liquidity is, going to win. And that's a trader's dream, is to like, have two different coins competing. And why shouldn't there be more than one thing that competes like Bitcoin did? Bitcoin had Bitcoin Core and Bitcoin, what was it? Bitcoin Core and Bitcoin ABC or something. What was it?
Hey, somebody got a great name in the
during
chat.
the block wars. And then they had to fight it out, and nobody knew whether, Roger Ver's version, which ended up, being called Bitcoin Cash, or whether Bitcoin Core was going to win. So same thing happened with Ethereum. I think it's P-Dye's turn to
There's great suggestion in the chat. There's literally somebody called it P Live. Keep talking about dying. Let's stop dying for a second. P Live. P Live is a fun one.
Maybe just keeping the name the same is really best.
No P, just die.
Because probably Pateus and PulseX front end can handle like people identifying which the real one is. Unless you want to call it R die for like Richard's die, just as a joke that he's behind it.
And I heard on the chat we got like 4,000 people live right now.
There's already a retard die, but I'm pretty sure that Richard wasn't behind that one.
Yeah,
okay.
You got to be serious somehow. So, but literally, plan of action, right? Plan of action, right? If we end the stream or whatever, what's the plan of action? Is A, doing what Maddie said, collect the addresses, prepare potentially to drop. And then, we can figure out the name, whatever it might be. But I think if that can be done within the next, I'm just going to be conservative, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it takes just to get that done. Once this thing's going, I'll be the first one to make a suggestion to tell Richard to just nuke the old one, get the liquidity and pump that into the...
What if we updated on this topic as a group of 5 next week at the same time?
Ooh. That's a good point. I'm in for that.
And maybe if Sami was willing to do the homework, maybe he could do a survey that with any names that he thinks the community might like.
I love you, sirs. I need time to think about stuff like this.
That's fair.
I can't. I'm not going through like I told you, man. Like I don't make up my mind off like this 2-second stuff out here. I believe there's a solution. I don't know what the right solution is. Remember, I've still got to figure out if I'm getting conned right now. Is this, I'm just being honest, right? Is this something to get more uncertainty, get more weak hands, and then throw a better solution out 2 weeks? I don't know if that's going to happen, right? So I want to actually go through all of it because everyone says 50 trillion, 1,000 different things. I know everyone's like, oh, this is one solution. Guys, you understand? Every single person's got an idea. It's decentralized. There's no one real founder and leader and stuff out here. We still haven't been able to replicate the exploit, all these other things out here. So I think everyone just needs time to think about what solutions are. I know, what am I, de facto leader? I don't know where this is going. I got no idea. I mean, like, as far as I'm concerned, I got the least technical knowledge of all. I just reckon there's a way out of this out here. Maybe some whispers from God will come out and present themselves out here as well. But also, we still, if it ends up going that route, there's still then the next step comes out. I know Rich is going to do it. It's like, okay, P-Dye, you forked it. You've progressed. All right. Which idiot is going to give you the collateral and give free money? Lol. They're not going to give you that. And it's just, I could just see this stuff playing out in their own different ways out here. But
to be fair, right?
I think he'd be proud.
You can take with you tonight He did tweet it at the end of the day, right? Because you like to read between the line. That's one you can take to the bank. He did tweet that if you guys really want to do it, that's one way you could do it. And if that happened, right, that's basically saying, I'll change my worldview and potentially support.
Well,
AKA, go DJ and all you want, but don't do it on something.
And with an airdrop, you still have both. You still have both
You got
tokens.
a community. People
So,
lose their position.
you don't have to be right. That's the cool thing that Kareem always used to say and Johnny Chaos used to say about EHEX and PX. If you don't ratio trade and you just hold your positions, you don't have to be right.
Wow, look at you, Matty. Yes. And by the way, that was your
This is
answer. Somebody, how do
unaffected.
you do the 60x against Pulse? It's exactly because of that army of people that listen to what I've said. Guys, we got free copies. We don't have to pick. We hold it down.
Respect.
This is why EX pumped, because the shoulder of giants were here. We never dumped. The real ones, the what I call the margin, they panicked and they sold and they listened to, no offense, Crypto Sparkbook at the time. Oh, pick a side, all this bullshit. The real ones, we never switch because Hex is Hex. It works just fine. And that's why EHEX never went to zero, because we hold it down. So when he pumped back up, we were just right there. I may have added some to my position too, because why not? It's cheap. Because I love Hex. Hex is Hex. But that's why I'm trying to tell you, it has to come with solution-oriented, knowing the code is safe. Because I don't feel comfortable being diehard about something when I know an exploiter is out there. It just doesn't feel right. We got to get that guy out. Then we can go hardcore.
I think like the conversation will continue as it must, like beyond the five of us and like, all of that. And so I really want to emphasize, like, everybody has the opportunity to, like, take care of yourselves. Like, this has been kind of like, a really significant historic moment in Pulse Chain history. And I'm like, again, I want to say I'm like really grateful to everybody in the community, whether you agree or disagree and whatever side you're on. Like, this is a really cool example of how, people can have an honest conversation. And so, yeah, like with that in mind, we've had an amazing episode, and I want to thank everybody watching, whoever that might be, and everybody watching. And so just going around the room real quick, maybe you guys can say where people can find you and, any final thought you have as we wrap up here. Fast Abdul, you're on mute.
I guess we'll start with me. Fast Abdul, co-founder of 2Fucks and founder of Ink Printer. You can find me all over Telegram and Twitter. I will never DM you. All DMs are scams. Everybody be careful out there, especially when there's exciting stuff like this going on. Thank you.
Respect. Crispy?
Hey, don't come find me. But be kind to everybody. That's all.
I love it. Kareem?
Nice. Well, on Twitter at Your Magic, you can see on the stream, or on Instagram, Kareem Crypto 555. If you want to follow me on a day-to-day. But again, I want to thank everybody for being here. And remember, sometimes it's not about picking a side. We can all agree to disagree. And I said sometimes it's not important just to be right. It's okay to be understood so people can understand where you're coming from. Not everything is a scam. But if we can come together as a community, remember, that's our strength, Pulse Chain. Nobody can replicate what we have. And if we can keep the liquidity in-house, make everybody rich, and we can all be good, that's why I want to solve for it. The time of pointing fingers is already past. Let's find a solution if there is some there. And, if somebody agree to come back next week, hopefully after you think about, we'll be here to help. If not, it is what it is, but we're here to help if the help is sound. So thank you.
Oh yeah, and I wanted to reemphasize that, like, the invitation is open to Sami, but like it's fine if you do or don't want to join next week. We'll be here as always. And Sami, go ahead.
Yeah, your friend Sami, you know where to find me, in the trenches. Soy boy free zone, please. No crying in the casino. We're on team win. I don't know what the solution is, but I know we're gonna win. Okay, I don't know how we're gonna get there. We're gonna make it. I love you all, friends. I'm gonna catch you very soon.
Respect.
We'll be watching.
Thanks, Tommy.
Then I'll just close it out by saying,
my friend.
Thanks again for watching, and until next time, stake wisely, my friends, and peace out.
Peace. What a great show.